Thank you for tuning in. During the podcast, we had bad weather and internet connection problems. Please expect low quality video or bitrate issues during the stream. And welcome to another episode of podcast with Premier Avenue. So we did a new name change. We dropped streaming, and now we're just called Premier Avenue. This is a special podcast because this will be the first gaming podcast. We'll be talking about Elden Ring, and we have two new guests for the channel. Um, to introduce Mari first, since he's coming back for his third appearance in this
I might as
channel.
well be the same. This might as well be our podcast, Miggy.
Yeah, we can collab on that. So we have Mari Uytiepo. As you know, he also streams on Twitch under TeaMarinade. You can catch him with Souls games, Switch games, and any other fun games that he does, daring and challenging consequences if he dies. We also have another, I would say, Souls veteran, Alain Arriesgado. He's been a gamer ever since the PS1 era, and he is pretty much a veteran in the Souls game genre. And we have JV Mercado, who is new to the Souls series, I believe. I believe Elden Ring was his first Souls game, and then he is a veteran in the gaming world as well. I believe he started in PlayStation 1 also.
Yeah, around that
Yeah,
era
from the
as well.
Crash Bandicoot days.
Yeah, all those.
um, so we'll get a lot of input from him, even considering he's a newcomer to the Soul series. So hello everyone. So I just want
What
to
up?
ask
What
the first
up?
question. First question. Let's start with Mary first. What's your background with the Soul series? Well, what have you played?
Yeah. Okay. So from the Soul series, I played Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro. I did
Wow.
not play Demon Souls though. So that's the one yeah, I haven't played the first one, and I did not play the PS5 one. I think that's probably the next thing I'm going to play after Elden Ring.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like pretty much I got hooked because I had a friend who was like, "Hey, you want to know the heart? You like this is like back in I think it was like sometime in I think either 2010 or like right after I moved. It was like, "Hey, you want to know the hardest game ever?" And then basically threw me into the game, no explanation,
It was a
no
hard game.
context whatsoever, and then was kind of waiting. For those of you who play Dark Souls, you kind of start off fighting. I'm already forgetting the name. It's that one giant fat monster with big club that is kind of the tutorial monster, and usually a lot of Souls games have that tutorial monster. But was just kind of awaiting for me to enter that room just to see me suffer, and that's kind of how I got hooked. I was just like fighting the boss. I was like, dang, this game is actually pretty challenging and kind of weird in that it doesn't really guide you the way that a lot of normal games do, and that's kind of where my Souls journey began. Kind of got addicted to that difficulty and how weird the game gets, and basically From Software and the tricks they play in your mind. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's basically my background.
Interesting. What about you, Elaine?
Yeah, actually, so fairly similar. I had a really good friend who was super, super into the Soul series, and I hadn't played it before. I was familiar with it. Like, one of my best friends, like, mentioned it, like, yeah, around 2011, 2012, going, like, oh, this game, that's super hard and punishing. And at the time, I was like, fuck that. I don't want any of that. I don't want any of that. But then I got a PS4 fairly late. Actually, no, I got a PS4 on launch, and then Bloodborne was like super hyped up at the time,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like early
Mhm.
2015.
Definitely.
And I wanted to get into it. I was like, this looks so interesting. And my friend who was already super into the Soul series, like, all right, let's start with DS2 because DS1, which is really cool that you played
DS2.
it, Mari, but I've actually never played DS1. I've seen like multiple playthroughs. I've never played DS1.
Mhm.
But so DS2 was fairly new-ish at the time. It was pretty fresh. So I had this like he guided my hips, kind of just. I went like traditional, just sword and board build. I had tons of fun, and yeah, again, so I was like, it was my first experience with that super challenging, difficult gameplay, and I just found it so addicting and rewarding. Like like I can't remember the last time I had a boss fight where like my heart was just absolutely racing. But yeah, so it started around that time, around 2015. Did a new game playthrough of PS2. Had tons of fun, and then Bloodborne came and just fucking changed my life. Like I think I must have sank like 600, seven
Yeah,
hundred
I think you told me like
hours. Man,
500 to
I went up
600
to like
hours.
New Game Plus 7. Like I couldn't get enough, man. It was so fun. It was unlike anything ever. Like it wasn't quite a character action game, but it had that sort of speed and tempo,
Mhm.
right? And yeah, it was just so damn good. It was just unlike anything I've ever had. And the lore at the time, like, the Reddit threads, the YouTube videos of people going, just theory crafting. I think that was
Mm.
around the time Vati kind of popped into
Body
the
good,
scene.
yeah. Hmm.
DS2, Bloodborne, played that for years. And then DS3 came out 2016, I think, literally the year after. So we were just like spoiled for content as Soulsborne fans. And then yeah, I love DS3. It was just such a quality of life improvement from DS2. Like
Yeah.
not just graphical wise, but like just everything else all across the board. Just improvements everywhere. And yeah, I had fun with that. Didn't quite sink as much time on DS3 as I did Bloodborne, but had fun just experimenting with all the different builds. Because I didn't do that with DS2. DS2, I just went straight pure melee, and then DS3, I experimented like faith build, mage build, all that. So yeah, had such good replay value with DS3. And then yeah, from DS3, I didn't touch Souls for a while. So from like 2016 till yeah, Elden
Oh,
Ring, I guess.
till,
I
yeah,
didn't
till
play Sekiro.
Sekiro. Yeah.
No, yeah, I completely missed the boat in Sekiro. I know a few things here or there, but I'm fairly unspoiled for the most part for Sekiro.
Same here, actually.
Um,
I don't know
yeah,
much about
okay,
it.
yeah. I've got two of my friends, the ones who got me into Souls, absolutely rave about it. I
Really?
feel like it's pretty underappreciated, I guess, compared to all the other entries, all the other FromSoft entries.
I think it's because
But I
it's not
will
a
get to it.
Bandai Namco game, right?
Yeah, it
Is it?
is. It's
It's
Bandai
yeah.
It
Namco
It's
is.
game.
not.
That's right.
Mhm.
Oh,
Oh, it is.
it is. I thought it
They
was
were the publishers.
Activision.
I think you're right, Miggy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
Activision.
Actually, Activision. I think you guys are right there. It's really good though. You guys got to play that one.
Yeah.
It's on my list actually. Also,
It's been on my
Yeah.
list.
I hear Mari. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I hear like one of the most important skills to learn is like the parrying system. So like literally
Um,
every enemy attack, like you just have to constantly get those perfect inputs for the parries. And I've seen it done perfectly, and I'm like, that looks so cool. Like that looks
Oh, yeah.
so satisfying.
Well, the cool thing is, okay, so like if you think about it, I mean, Elaine, you could relate because you're like you're Souls gamer as well. Dark Souls,
Yeah,
there's a lot of dodging, a lot of rolling, like a lot of fat
yeah,
rolling too. Dark Souls is a
yeah,
rolling game. Bloodborne is it's a pretty quick you're moving really quick and you're dodging a lot, but the game rewards
yeah,
you for attacking basically getting your
yeah,
life back.
yeah.
Sekiro is a blocking game, so there's a meme around that says it's basically Dance Dance Revolution, and that's kind of accurate because you're constantly pressing the right button for the right attack. So he's
Yeah,
attacking. Sometimes you're
interesting.
blocking this way, and then if he and then that symbol shows he's about to do a low sweep, you got to jump, and if you block, you're gonna get hit. He's gonna go and do a thrust.
Oh,
You got to do a
Mm.
Makiri counter, and if you don't do it, you're gonna get
sick.
hit. So there's just and so like you were saying, you watch people do it. What's happening is you're essentially it's almost like a dance because you're
Yeah, yeah,
it's really fast paced. It's as if you're sword fighting and that's why like a lot of the enemies are humans, right? It's because you're
Yeah, yeah.
going in and you're blocking this way, and then you attack, and then he's blocking, and then he attacks you, and you're blocking a certain way, and you attack back, and
Yeah.
it's just one big dance every time you fight.
That is such an interesting take. I don't think I've ever heard Souls combat to be likened to a rhythm game, and that's kind of
good.
true. Like when you
Makes sense.
memorize the enemy attack patterns or their move sets, you kind of have to remember a rhythm, right? Like you kind of have to like
Blueprint.
ingrain their rhythm into your brain, and then that's how you like progress. That's so cool. That's so interesting. I love that comparison.
Yeah,
fact,
first time I've heard of it, but it makes total sense.
Oh, yeah.
Now that you mention it, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird, by the way, because you can go through a whole fight just blocking and not ever hitting the enemy at all.
Wow, damn,
And,
that takes a lot of patience. Yeah.
Exactly. And because there's a parry system, you'll eventually break his parry, and it doesn't matter how many times you didn't hit him. If you break it, you can instantly kill him. So literally, if you just do the blocking right and you're just dancing like for the next like 5 minutes, you just get every block right, his parry is going to be gone and you're going to knock him out. It's crazy. You guys should just play it. I don't know. I'm not going to say anything else. It's an experience.
Yeah. Nah, I'm sold, dude. I'm sold. I just need to get good. But that is so cool. Yeah, shit. The only thing I could, it's a weird tangent, but the only thing I could relate that to is, have you guys, Miki, I'm sure you've heard of Metal Gear Revengeance?
Yeah.
Metal Gear, yeah. Have you it came out, it was a PS3 game. From, like,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Raiden. Yeah. So that whole game's whole gimmick is the parry system. So it's like you hold the left analog stick like on the direction of the attack, and then you press a certain button like at the same time upon impact, and then you do the parry. But I could only imagine like done in a FromSoft way how that would feel and how that would look. But that's so cool, man. But yeah, sorry, going back. Yeah, so completely missed Sekiro, but I know a few things here or there. And then I got a PS5 fairly recently, around October of last year, and then got a
Nice.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god, you have no idea how hard it is over here. Like I hear it's fairly doable back home.
It just became better. Yeah.
Became better
That's
recently.
good. Yeah, but here in Australia, man, I don't know what it is. Maybe because we're far from fucking everywhere else, but it was so damn hard.
The land
But
down.
I finally snagged one, and I played Demon Souls last year. That was my first PS5 game. Oh, well, I played that alongside a few other games, but that was like the first batch of games I was playing. And man, that was so good. Like I can't believe that was.
I can't wait for Mari to see
2009.
Demon Souls, man.
Oh man,
Mari
you're
needs
Can't
to
wait
see
to stream
Demon
it.
Souls.
Demon
It's
Souls
so
looks so
interesting.
good. I'm saying.
Yeah, it's so
I can lend
interesting
it to you,
though, going
JV. I
back.
still have a
Nice.
copy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting going back. It's like Maria, you've played a lot from the series, and then you're gonna play the first game that like Miyazaki ever did from like 2009, and obviously it looks completely different, but like it's gonna have like a lot of throwbacks that you might find interesting. Like, oh my god, this is where it originated from, or you played Bloodborne and you'll like enter certain areas and be like, I feel like they took inspiration from here.
Gotcha. I see.
But yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
played Death, clapped that. That was so fun. Played a mage build, and then played Elden Ring at launch, just like you guys. Yeah, that's pretty much my 7-year FromSoft journey.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. JV, before we get to you, I'll just share mine real quick. So my first Souls game was actually Bloodborne. And this was just during the pandemic when everything was shut down. I didn't know what to play. Well, I haven't really been playing PlayStation in a long time since then. And then when the pandemic hit, everything was like cheap in the PlayStation store. So I was like, okay, I'll buy this game, I'll buy that game. So I played Resident Evil, played all these other games, and then Bloodborne was there also. And I remember Elaine mentioning that Bloodborne is really good. And I believe I saw Mari play Dark Souls when I visited him back in 2016. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it was Dark Souls, like one of the Dark Souls. I
Yeah,
think.
it was like one of them. I forget what I was playing at the time.
Yeah. Honestly, at that time, I found it a little boring because, like, it's kind of slow, you know. But then when I started playing Bloodborne, I liked the whole parry system, which it's a gun, it's not a shield. So the timing of that was actually great, considering you mentioned fast-paced action. I think that's what made it really fast-paced as well, because with the amount of weapons you can use, also, you can mix and match your play style. Then after Bloodborne, I started with Demon Souls right away, and from there, Elden Ring. So just three Souls games, but I do plan to play the Dark Souls series soon, hopefully soon, and Sekiro for sure. So what about you, JV? I understand this is your first Souls
So
game.
yeah, it's my first ever Souls game. So I've always been interested in the series, but the thing was, like many other gamers like myself, I was daunted by the difficulty of the game. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I was telling myself, why will I play this game where I know I'll probably be super frustrated with playing? Like sometimes I
That's
like to
right.
relax when I game, and like
Yeah.
so, and of course, like all you guys, if you have friends who always rave about the game, like, wow, dude, you have to try this. It's so amazing. Like around the time Mari was saying a while ago, like early 2010s, late 2009, I think, I had a friend from college. She kept saying, bro, you have to try this game. To play Dark Souls, Demon Souls. This is it. This proves you are truly a gamer. And I see you play a few games and everything, and like,
Gamer
I have to
certified.
say, it
Yeah.
actually does prove you're a gamer,
You
but
get
yeah.
like
true, you're a gamer. And like,
honorary pin. That's so
exactly.
Yeah.
funny.
I mean, and honestly, the games look really always really good. I was like, oh, the high fantasy setting always interested me. And then, but time and time again, I would be like, I don't know if I'll ever really finish it. I might actually just stop at a boss and like just get frustrated with my purchase. Then the next time I got interested again was Bloodborne. Again, it was like it was super hyped up. My cousin was like, Bloodborne is like the best game on PlayStation 4, man. You have to play Bloodborne. And I actually have it already saved in my PlayStation. I actually bought it from the PS store and like, okay, I have it there. So it's ready, but I never jumped in. And then
Oh.
once again after that, Sekiro. Sekiro is the one which I almost really jumped in because I'm super into like Japanese samurai
Mhm.
Yeah.
thing. And like,
Hell
oh
yeah.
shucks, it looks so cool. I was about to purchase it, and our mutual friend, Stevie, he said, "JV, don't play that game. You're gonna suffer. You're gonna suffer." Why? But it looks so cool. Look at the katana thing, and like in the end, I bought Ghost of Tsushima instead, which
Mhm.
it's also
Mhm.
really good.
Ooh.
Yeah, really good
It's good.
adventure game, and similar parry system type of thing, but definitely not on the level of Sekiro. But yeah, I never jumped in. And finally, no, Elden Ring. So Elden Ring was different from I think from all the previous games. I think because of all the marketing and with George R. R. Martin's involvement. And
Yeah.
start of the year, I was really really craving for something like with high fantasy again, and like I wanted something to scratch that itch. And PlayStation 5 had nothing else to play. I decided, oh, this is it. I'll jump in.
Nice.
I went with Elden Ring all the way. As I told myself also, like younger JV, see, this is your chance to finally prove yourself as a true,
Redemption.
as a true
Yeah,
gamer.
yeah,
Younger
yeah.
JV.
That's right. To do this. So I told myself, I'm gonna finish this game. I'm gonna platinum it. And yeah, actually, I just
Yeah, dude,
platinum it
congrats on that.
just
Platinum.
yeah, last week, 2 weeks ago or something like that.
You
So I
did,
was like,
JV?
yeah, I
You got the
platinum.
plat?
Yeah, I
Let's
got the plat.
go!
Yeah, it took a
Platinum
while.
joy.
Yeah,
Let's
That's
go,
not,
let's
that's not
go.
bad for
Me
a
too,
first
man.
Souls game. A
yeah, so
platinum
I was
for a
like,
first
okay,
Souls
it
game.
might
Yeah.
be like my first and last. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I was saying like
Kudos,
that.
man. Kudos. Congrats.
So
Dude, go
yeah,
for Bloodborne or Sekiro. I
so
believe those will satisfy you.
yeah, I
I
think
think.
Bloodborne or Sekiro. Then the only thing even close, I guess, was Jedi Fallen Order in the sense of like when you
Oh
go
yeah,
to
yeah. I
checkpoints,
understand. Hmm.
everything respawns, all the enemies respawn
I
in the
understand.
area.
Yeah.
So if you ever play Jedi
It
Fallen
was-
Order, it's like that. But it's not close in difficulty. And then like after playing after playing Elden Ring, no,
No, no, no. Even in the hardest difficulty of Jedi
no.
Fallen Order, no.
No. So yeah,
uh,
that's basically my experience and background on on the Souls experience background.
Nice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good
Well,
stuff,
since you
though.
mentioned Ghost of Tsushima,
Mm.
with our next question here, what other open world games did you play, JB?
Well, a little bit of everything. So I played Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild,
Oh,
some time back also. Like when it first came out, And like I'm sure there's influences here and there. God of War 2018 is not exactly open world, but there's some kind of semi-open
Big
world.
zones,
Big
open
zones.
zones.
Witcher
Yeah.
3 Wild Hunt is one of my favorite games of all time. If
Oh
you ever
yeah.
played Witcher 3, it's open world,
Oh,
very different
yeah.
game. Super, super good. I played a little bit of Horizon Zero Dawn. I never got to finish it though, because I forgot what other game I was playing at the time. Grand Theft Autos, so type of thing. But um, comparing to Elden Ring, it's like Elden Ring kind of like levitates, in a sense, it ascends it into a different like
It
genre.
sucks you in.
It sucks you in, like pretty good. It's pretty good. Like, but I'm sure you'll be discussing it later on how it kind of.
Yeah.
I think it
Hmm.
revolutionizes the open
It
world now.
does there. That's
Yeah,
why I
I
wanted to
think.
bring that up. Hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, Kingdoms of Amalur is another game. It's super kind of indie, but it's pretty
Interesting.
good too. Yeah. So
What
yeah,
about you,
open world
Mary?
games.
Oh, for open. So it's
Open
weird
world,
for
yeah.
me because open world games for me, they kind of get hit or miss, only because I tend
That's
to
right.
get like it depends what the game is. Like I don't want to say get bored of it, but it just gets overwhelming maybe
Yeah.
because
I hear you.
with an open world game
Yeah.
you have basically all the choice in the world to do whatever the fuck you want. That's basically what it is, You can go here, you can go there. There's no one linear path. And then I almost suffer from like 100%ing, like a 100%ing disease where I'm just like,
Completionist mentality.
yeah, completionist.
Yeah,
There you
Yes.
go.
yeah,
Like I want to,
yeah,
I want to
yes.
get everything done.
Yeah.
And then like, yeah. So though I did play Breath of the Wild like you, JV. Love that game. It's great.
Yeah.
I used to be in the past a lot more into open world, Fallout 3, Skyrim, etc. But then
Mhm.
I knew it hit when I was like trying to play Witcher Wild Hunt, and I was just like,
Mm.
after a while, it's just like, man, there's just so many things to do, and I'm a little overwhelmed here. Like, what the fuck do I do? So
I felt the
that's
same.
why.
I felt the same.
Yeah, so that's kind of like why I'm like, it does get hit or miss. I mean, obviously, we're going to talk about Elden Ring, and I have thoughts about the open world experience and how that translates. Still, oh, sorry, I think the
No, that's fine.
connection.
You're back. You're back.
I'm back. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that later. But anyway, that's my whole thing with open worlds at the very least.
Nice.
What about you, Elaine?
Yeah, so for me, I played mostly for like my first experience for like open like sandbox games were Rockstar. So like playing GTA 3 for the first time in like 2004
I forget they're
was probably
super
my
open
first
world.
open world, and at the time, right, early 2000s, open world was
Revolutionary.
that was the shit. Yeah, it was like everyone wanted it. So yeah, definitely Rockstar games was how I got my first start. Other games as well. Most recently, before Elden Ring, was Breath of the Wild for me. Man, that was like that's all I did in COVID. Like 2020 was just Breath of the Wild. I just couldn't put it down. But like I've got some interesting like comparisons because we've played so many open world games, but like comparing Elden Ring to say Red Dead Redemption, for example, like that's one of my favorite open world games. But one like difference between Red Dead 1 and Elden Ring, for example, is like in Red Dead, or I guess this is the Rockstar formula, where if you were to like stray too far off of the beaten path and like in a main story mission, you would just instantly fail. And for me, and I'm sure for other people, that would be a little frustrating. It's like, no, I want to explore. I want to go over here, And I feel like that's one thing that Elden Ring encourages and rewards. It's like, yeah, go ahead, dude. Like, you want to go over there? Well, what's that shiny thing over there? Go right ahead. And you would normally be rewarded for it. So that was one interesting comparison I thought of. Also, in like other Rockstar games, there's often like an illusion of sort of choice, where I think it's usually bad, but I guess Rockstar gets away with it because the story is just that good. Like the narrative is so
they have character
engaging.
development and stuff,
It's so good. The acting's amazing that it gets away with it. But yeah, GTA missions were always so fun. For example, do you guys play GTA 4?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, for New York, right? Yeah,
I
yeah,
did
yeah.
not
Yeah,
actually.
GTA 4 was like one of my
Liberty
first
City.
games for PlayStation
Yeah,
3. So it's
The
like,
Liberty City one, the HD Liberty
yeah,
City one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like this like one of my favorite GTA 4 moments were the Brucey missions. You guys remember Brucey, the super steroidical,
Oh,
like
that guy.
larger than life character guy? Was so fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like GTA 4, GTA 4 was fun in that way, but like I also remember GTA 3, like just there were so many ways to just tackle one mission. Like you could just literally like go to park your car, jump a fence, and just like shoot the boss, and then that was like the end of the mission. Like you could just like find so many shortcuts, um,
Mm-hmm.
which was so satisfying. Um,
Yeah.
but I feel like Elden Ring just changed the game in terms of like how many ways you could tackle a boss. Like in
Yeah.
other open world games, it's just I feel like there is such a limited number of ways to tackle a boss. But in Elden Ring, it was just like something you could talk about for hours and just be like, talking to a friend
For
like, oh, you beat a
years,
boss,
actually. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, and be like, how did you beat the boss? And like more often than not, I'd be like, wow, I didn't even know you could beat that boss that way. Like one of the weirdest things. I'm not sure if because Mari, you haven't finished the game, right?
Yeah, no, but I'm open. To be honest, I even if you guys talk about like because right now, just to give you guys some context, I'm at that point where I have the fire, which I know
Oh,
for sure is going to light up what you call it that one giant city, right? Because I just beat the fire giant
Oh,
as far as
oh,
the
you
main
did.
story goes.
Oh,
But
you
I got
did.
the
Oh, you
Okay.
second
did just
one.
beat the
Yeah.
fire giant.
Anyway,
Okay,
okay,
okay.
you beat
that's
the
where I
fire
am.
Okay.
But
giant.
if you want to talk about
Okay,
anything past that point, I don't mind so much.
Oh,
okay.
you don't
So
need to.
go right
Stop me,
ahead.
stop me before I spoil something.
Yeah.
But
Did you
is
finally? Sorry. Go ahead.
Go.
is
What's up?
No, like,
Mog's
did you?
Palace before or after?
Sorry.
Is Mog's Palace before or after the fire giant?
It
I think it's
depends on
It
your
before.
depends on how you
pace.
play as well. Like,
Yeah, it
I,
depends. It
Okay.
can be before, because mine was after.
I played. I went to Mog's Palace way earlier,
There,
way
mine was like
earlier.
after. I did Mog before the last boss.
Okay.
That's how
Okay.
late I
I'll
did
just
Mog.
okay. I'll just skip it because I was just gonna like give an example of like a really weird way of beating a boss in Elden Ring.
Mm,
But I'll just
Oh.
skip that. But like basically, yeah, like one of the things that I think Elden Ring really changed the game in terms of like open world games was like most open world games, like Rockstar games have these like lavishly produced set pieces, so that they're
mm,
well acted and are really cinematic and everything. Whereas Elden Ring doesn't have that, but it has the benefit of the player being able to tackle certain scenarios in like multiple ways.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, another open world game. I'm sure maybe we talked about this before that people kind of like to compare it to because they came out roughly at the same time was not roughly at the same time, but like people compare it to Horizon Zero Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Or the Forbidden West one. Yeah.
yeah,
The second one. Both.
the
Well, they're
second
both the
one.
same.
Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah, came out
Mm-hmm.
the same time. But like, say you were to compare it, Horizon's pretty open world as well, but it
Mm-hmm.
it it has those like, you know, really elaborate set pieces, and you can tell that's where they put a lot of money to, right? Like the
Budget.
mocap,
Yeah.
the making sure it's well. They paid like really talented, actors, voice actors.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas yeah, Elden Ring doesn't have that, but it has that benefit of being able to beat bosses in like multiple ways or explore in multiple ways. So yeah, it's interesting to see like how Elden Ring prioritize certain things, whereas and
mm.
other open world games prioritize other things in terms of
Mm-hmm.
like where their budget went to.
Yeah.
Um,
I just
Well,
want to
if I were
insert
Yeah.
to go ahead,
like
JV, go ahead.
like with regards to what you said, like yeah, how you can tackle and go to different places, like what you mentioned, like going back to what Mogan Palace, just to say how I got there earlier, because there's a way where you can talk to White Mask Vare, the guy. I don't know how you pronounce his name properly. The first guy you
This
meet,
guy,
the one who calls you,
this
yeah, that
guy.
guy in the video.
Yeah,
Tells you you're maidenless. So if you keep meeting him for a
Yeah,
bit,
the
yes,
maidenless guy.
he gives
Yeah.
you a few tasks,
there you-
and then if you keep doing his things, he can teleport you straight to Hogan's Palace, like way earlier in the game if you wanted to.
that's true. That's what
Damn.
Yeah,
I wasn't able
yeah.
to do. I got pissed at him and killed him because he called me maidenless. But yeah,
Oh my god, that's funny.
I couldn't revive him again.
Oh no.
So I had to, well, marry. This isn't a spoiler, but I had to find a way to that place you guys are talking about, the Mog's
Yeah,
place,
Monk's
and there
Palace.
is a way.
Yeah,
So
Is
there are
that
different
past?
ways to
different
go through.
paths.
That's like past where I am right now, like Bogman's
It
Palace.
could be, or it you can either do it really early like JV, or do it really
Mhm.
late like me, because
Yeah,
if it's
Which
an
is what it,
optional thing,
honestly, it's
that is
kind
the
of high
beauty
level.
of this game.
it's
That
high
is the
level but
beauty of
it's
this game.
optional.
That's up. It's
I
super
love
optional.
that.
um, have you gone to the wait? I can't. Maybe it's spoilery, but Halleck Tree? No. Have you been to the
Oh yeah,
Halleck
Oh
I've
Tree?
been to
yes,
Halleck Tree.
he's
Yeah,
done
I've,
Millennia, right?
Oh,
yeah,
you
I've
beat
done
Millennia.
Millennia.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah,
just making sure. Just making sure.
no,
Yeah.
it's all good. Like, and I understand what you guys are saying too. Like, when it comes to open world, I think that was one of the things that shocked me about Elden Ring. I mean, there's always something about each Souls game that they introduce. That was it. Like, they were just kind of defying the standards of what an open world should be. Like, in the sense that that alone, the whole teleportation thing. Because I think my first experience with that was going to that area where you fight the first dragon, and
Oh
then
yes, I know.
jumping through the ruins, and then I don't know if you guys experience this too. Like, you basically get transported into a cave up in that wasteland
Yeah.
area,
Oh
Yeah.
my
and
god.
you
Yes.
can't freaking fast travel out of that cave. So you're
You gotta
basically
Oh
run.
fucked.
shit! Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
gotta
and
run.
you gotta, yeah, exactly. That's
Gotta
and you're
run.
like, what the fuck? Like, this game, this is when you know, and honestly, Dark Souls, any Souls game, the developers always find a way to show you that they're evil motherfuckers. And for
Yeah, they
Elden
just
Ring,
want you to suffer, man.
exactly,
Yeah.
and this is it. You know, this is pure evil. Like, what kind of game does that? You can't save. Even if you reset the game, you're still in the same damn place. You can't
Yeah.
fast travel. You have to just snake your way out and get killed like 10 billion times, right?
Funny thing about that,
Yeah.
like I heard about that. Someone was telling me you have to watch out for that teleporting whatever place, and then like I found the treasure chest. Like I saw the notes in the bottom, like danger and stuff like that, and watch out for for a trap.
Yeah, they warn you.
Yeah, and I was like telling myself, nah, I got this.
You got
I'm a gamer. I'll do this. So I literally let myself get teleported to that place, and yeah, I suffered for it. I suffered for it like so many other people. Like, I was like, oh, okay, this place is no joke.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, you gotta look out for those trolls, man, because sometimes
Yeah.
those notes is genuinely good advice. Other
Mhm.
times it's just straight up trolls just trying to get you killed. But yeah, sorry, just to finish my point, I was just that comparison of like sometimes you just need the barest minimum context to progress
Yep.
the story.
Mhm.
Like for example in Monster Hunter, like that's another somewhat of an open world game, I guess you can argue. And in Monster Hunter, like a quest giver would just tell you to just like kill this T-Rex and get its skull because it's noisy and it keeps my wife up at night. Like that's it. Like it takes like 2 seconds, you get a quest and then you do it. You go straight to the action, straight to the fun. But like other, big budget open world games, like it's like I don't know, 10 minutes of dialogue, and if the story's good and the acting's good, then it carries it. But like I'm sure stuff with like Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah, I haven't played it, but I can only imagine, Miggy. I don't know if you felt that way sometimes. Like, if you're stuck in like a dialogue and you can't like exit out of it or skip through it, like sometimes you just be like, oh, just get to the point already.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
let's start playing.
the dialogue does drag a little too long. If you watch my playthroughs, I kind of skip it a bit because I already know what's going on. Like, you don't need to give me too much information. I already have it. You can just tell me this and that and what happened to her in the
Exactly.
like a backstory, just a quick one. But it does drag too long. But I guess the world makes up for it because you really want to explore that world because of how beautiful it is.
Yeah.
It's actually my number one graphic looking PS5 game right now. It
Wow.
used to
There
be
you
Demon
go.
Forbidden West.
Souls. It used to be Demon Souls. Like it was my favorite, looking game for PS5. But now when I played Forbidden West, it's a game changer. It's like,
Yeah. It
you
looks
know,
stunning, man. It looks
even on
stunning. But
stream it
yeah.
looks good. Stuff like that.
Damn.
Yeah,
Nice.
hey, you guys
Hey,
should give it a shot.
Mhm.
I will, man. Yeah, it's on the list. But
It's on the
yeah, so
list
just to
too.
finish, I feel like Elden Ring benefits from all of these predecessors, from the
Mhm.
previous FromSoft games to all these previous open world games. It just really shows you, like, it really shines, having come after the fact. Like, I feel like it's just my opinion, but if Elden Ring was the first FromSoft game that ever came out, like it would have been panned by every focus group. Like, because when Demon Souls first came out in 2009, like I'm pretty sure it was like a commercial failure. Like
Mhm.
even what's his
Like,
name,
what is this?
Yoshida from Sony, like didn't even want to publish it, and it sold really bad. And like I think it was just Atlas, the publishers of the Persona games that was like, okay, we see something here, let's publish it. And yeah, so I feel like it came out at the perfect time, like
Thanks to them. Hmm.
yeah, as benefiting from like the sum total of all the previous FromSoft games. But yeah,
Hmm.
that was
So, yeah, before what was your expectations for the game? Because like it was being hyped up for quite a while. Then it got delayed for a bit. And then I remember that week, like I was messaging you, Mary, and you, Elaine, and like, guys, it's coming out. And it's just so happens it was a holiday here. So it's like, oh, we're gonna play it. and and then I think I remember in this playthrough, I even saw you go online, Elaine. Like, oh, okay, it's on. He's gonna start playing it already. So yeah, what do you guys have expectations for this game coming in?
Um, I guess I could start on that one. Well, I can't lie. Like they were pretty high, obviously, because uh, I forget when it was released, but it was released a while. There's a long
Um,
wait for this, right?
February 25. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty long, and obviously, me being a Souls fan, I was like, this is what I'm looking for, and but I was curious though because I was like, well, what new mechanic? I mean, besides the fact it's open world, like how is this going to be any different from all the other Souls games? That's always my question when a new Souls game is going to come out, and I feel like From Software is really good at introducing something new that makes the game feel very different from its predecessors. I think that's the thing. Like Sekiro felt so different from everything else. I mean, obviously, like you have that Souls flair, like like it's a Souls game, but definitely it feels like a very different game. Meaning, if you try to play like a Dark Souls when you're playing Sekiro, you will get punished and you will die constantly because you're going to keep dodging. If you do the same with Bloodborne, you're going to die too because if you're not attacking and you're not being aggressive and you're just constantly like dodging, you're going to get hit and then you're gonna lose your health slowly. But for Elden Ring, yeah, same thing. I was just like, well, how is this gonna be any different? I heard that armor is gonna play, or like, not armor, sorry, but that like your equipment and like the things that you get through scouring the game for new things would really affect things is what I heard because previously when in Dark Souls game it affects you very little. In fact, you can play the game like completely like not wearing any clothes, which is what I do some of the times, um,
yeah,
because you roll quicker, right? Um,
yeah,
but you
yeah.
can do that. But with Elden Ring, I heard that it was going to be a massive impact, so I was just like trying to figure it out. I mean, obviously we'll talk about that in a bit, but and then George R. R. Martin, that was also kind of a
Ah,
big
yeah, that's
thing.
true.
Mhm.
I
I was
actually
like,
forget
hey,
that he wrote it. Mhm.
Mhm.
yeah. I'm like, well, yeah, that's kind of like writing the lore, that's just like part of the Dark Soul, part of like the big, selling point of Dark Souls, or at least one of the things I do like is like they make the stories very interesting. I think that's what
Mhm.
makes the game really compelling. Is that the stories are great. And if you kind of look back, it's interesting. But yeah, that's those are my expectations at least.
Uh, for me, who's someone brand new, I expected at least, yeah, like what I mentioned a while ago about how it being very difficult. So I was up for the challenge, and like, so I was going in like, okay, let's see where this game will f me up, and like, okay, uh, what do I expect? And like, the first boss you meet is the Tree Sentinel, right? And like, oh, this guy looks like a tough guy. I think I can do this. And like, I've seen some people play this.
He's just
No,
chilling.
it's just chilling.
Yes.
I got this. So like, I think like maybe any other people like me who were brand new, like they were like, no, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna beat this guy. I'm gonna prove myself. And no, I had to leave
I
after
legit tried to
that.
do that also.
No, no.
After like maybe 8 or 9 deaths, I was like, nope, nope. I think I can go that way, the opposite direction. And so, but honestly, what I was really hoping for with Elden Ring was the whole high fantasy setting, like what Mary was saying about, and the story wise. I
Yeah.
was really craving for that, like feel of like, when you're younger, you sometimes imagine yourself as a knight, like you want to fight dragons and save the village and be a hero. And
Yeah.
so, and I was looking for that craving, the whole Game of Thrones thing, because of
Lord of the
George R. R.
Rings.
Martin,
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings as well. So,
Yeah.
and from what I played, and Elden Ring actually did fulfill that craving of mine. Like this is exactly what I was looking for. So I was pretty satisfied in that, I don't know, aspect. So yeah, those were my expectations for the game.
Nice. Yeah, so for me naman, I guess my expectations were shaped by, so I watched guys like Vadi, a bunch of other streamers, play the network test. So that was my expectation. So I don't know if you guys like saw the early footage, but like in the network test, you could choose like, I think 3 or 4 builds. And like one of
yeah.
which that really caught my eye was like the Enchanted Knight build. So like you get the Carrion Knight set, a bunch of spells, like from the jump, like on the get-go. And I thought that was what was gonna be in the vanilla game. Like, oh cool. I like as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my god, that is so cool. Like there, like I don't know if you guys are familiar with like the Carrion spells, but there's one which is basically Summon Sword from the
Oh,
Devil
yeah,
May
yeah.
Cry series, where it's just like you get like a bunch of these fucking magical swords.
Oh, I love
surrounding
that
you.
one.
Yeah, it's
I
so
saw
cool.
that. I was like, that is so sick. I saw this like, yeah, the Enchanted Knight build was kind of like a spell sword sort of build. Like you've got your spells for range, but you could also go melee. And I was like, that is so sick. I want to do that. And yeah, just watching these people play the network test, and I think the network test was just Limgrave, I believe. Like I think it was just like the entirety of Limgrave, but I'm not sure if you could go up to Godric, but it was just that sort of that area, that continent, that peninsula. And yeah, I saw that, and they would break it down, and I guess I was expecting it to be basically like the greatest hit of all FromSoft games, and I think that's what it ended up being. And sorry, to your point, Mari JV, like the dark fantasy George influence is so good, and I feel like George's influence. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but like to me, the Georgeness really stood out. How like there are all the main bosses, like all the demigods, their names all start with G, R, or M. Like think about it. Godric,
Wow.
Malenia, Radon.
What?
It's all G R. It's all G R
Oh, I
M.
didn't
And
notice
like
that.
No, that's a good one.
naming
I
conventions.
didn't notice
like,
that until.
yeah, naming conventions like
Oh.
fucking Stormvale. That is the most like when I first heard you gotta go to Stormvale, Vale this. I was like, that is the most George shit ever. Like
Oh my god.
it
That's so
sounds so
true.
Game of Thrones, diba?
Yeah, that's true.
It does sound like a Game of
And
Thrones place. It
Yeah.
does.
yeah, and I love it. I love it. And I think the game really benefits from his input because most often, FromSoft lore is pretty convoluted and it is just inscrutable. But I feel like this time around, George really created like the Elden Ring lore. It's very streamlined. It's pretty straightforward. Like here are the demigods. Here's the this is the great war that happened. And every time an NPC would refer back to the lore, I felt like it made more sense to me in comparison to like the previous Dark Souls games. Like I felt it was pretty confusing. Like you definitely needed to watch lore videos for the Dark Souls games to like really
To
explain
understand it.
Gwyn and the ancient dragons and all of that.
Right.
But yeah, I think it really benefited from his like storytelling and how he crafts his stories. But yeah, like I feel like the whole sibling shit, like Malenia and what's the name of her brother?
Mikola. Mikola.
Mikola. Like that whole sibling thing, that's pretty George.
Blade of Mikola.
But yeah. So that was pretty much my expectation, was that it was gonna be like the greatest hit. Like I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I feel like it has DS2 mechanics. So stuff like power stancing, like that used to be a thing you had to respec your character for in DS2 to equip like 2 great swords, for example. But in Elden Ring, you could just do it from the jump. Like you could just have dual weapons and dual wield. That's fine. Elden Ring also inherited Sekiro's posture system. So you know how your opponents have like an invisible posture meter that once you eventually break, they crumple. Like so, if like R2s, your charged R2s, guard counters, jump attacks do like massive posture damage. So if you do those enough, like the enemy or the boss just like crumples, and then you could do like a visceral attack or like a rip off. So I haven't played Sekiro, but Mari, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure they got that sort of posture system from Sekiro.
Yeah, yeah, I think they did, but I think posture is also a thing in Dark Souls, just maybe not as important as in Sekiro. Okay. Yeah, because for example, like there's this armor in Elden Ring. I'm pretty sure you guys might have seen it. The one that looks like a freaking bull on your freaking chest.
Oh yes,
one of the best toys.
Yeah, for posture, right? I think so. Dark Souls also has that stat. It almost feels a little bit more like Dark Souls because Sekiro does have posture. It's a very big thing, but it is more of a it is more like a health bar in Sekiro than. Yeah, but yeah, you're right on the money there. It does like I think it is the greatest hits. Like I guess to me it leans a little bit more like Dark Souls, but to your point, like the jump is a Sekiro thing. You can't jump anywhere else besides Sekiro, or like it like I feel like it has more fast paced elements, that kind of get it up to Bloodborne. I like one unique thing for me was the counter that pressing
the guard counter.
What was that?
The guard counter?
Yeah, the
guard counter. There we go. Yeah, that was new. So it kind of does feel a little bit more like your indie action rather than Dark Souls. Because Dark Souls is kind of like, oh, he's attacking, dodge, and then just wait for an opening and attacking,
Yes. Yeah, I think guard counters was an absolute game changer. Like it made the sword and board so much more fun. I think pre-patch, there was a incantation to like reinforce your shield to basically make it as like durable as a great shield. And I think it was like an incantation that made it so when you would block, if you would tank a hit, it wouldn't consume any stamina.
Oh, that would be OP as fuck, man. Yeah.
It was broken, man. So like you could just play turtle, take whatever hits, you wouldn't get, any poise damage, or you wouldn't, like get knocked back or anything. Like you could just hold L1, tank a hit, and then guard counter, and then just rinse and repeat until you win. I'm pretty sure they nerfed that in recent patches, but yeah, guard counters is absolute game changer when I first discovered it. But the horse combat, was that a thing in Sekiro? Does anyone know? Have they done horse combat before?
I think it's the first time.
No, yes, first time.
Oh, okay.
You would fight like a guys on horses in Sekiro, but you would never.
Yeah, I remember I watched my friend play like the first like couple of hours. I remember that this guy, on horseback in Sekiro, he was just yelling all the time. I found it hilarious. It was just super entertaining. Like, I am Masanobu something. It was super hype. But yeah, horse combat was definitely an expectation that I was like, this is gonna be great. Um, Another thing that is gone, but is has been remixed was in previous games. Are you guys familiar with mimics? So it's a treasure chest,
Oh,
right?
Oh,
oh
Uh,
yeah, and I know where you're going
Yeah.
with this, man.
yeah. So it's a treasure.
you?
So for those who are unfamiliar, so mimics in previous Souls games was a treasure chest, and it was actually a trap. So it's a treasure chest, and depending on which direction a chain that's attached to it is facing. I think if it's facing towards you, it's a mimic. If it's facing away from you, it's an actual treasure chest. But if you were to open a mimic, it transforms into this monster that's got these really long limbs, but has like a chest for a head and like has a massive tongue, and like it's a super tough enemy. But they changed that in Elden Ring, and it's no longer a mimic chest; it's a teleporter, right? So it's like I'm
Mm,
sure you guys have encountered. You open it, it's like, oh
yeah.
shit, where am I?
There's somewhere
I'm in
else.
this.
Yeah.
I'm in Brazil or whatever. I'm in this super difficult area. Um, yeah. So that was replaced by teleporter chest, and
I was actually waiting for those because I've heard about those mimic chests. I was like, okay, I
oh
was always
really?
like, maybe there's something here, like later in the game, like I was always
Yeah.
paranoid,
Yeah,
It's like, even
yeah,
though you always worry of those notes on the floor and like maybe they're just
yes,
BSing you or something, but like, so I'm always like, you can backstep right after just to make sure
yes,
you don't get teleported. So I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
so I
Yeah,
open
man, you
backstep.
got you get PTSD from that shit. But yeah,
Yeah.
JV, you mentioned Tree Sentinel and like how I'm sure a lot of us bashed our head on it. It's like, no, we can beat him, we can do this. I feel like that was straight up like from Soft telling you like, I'm sorry, you're not beating him. Like, or even going before Tree Sentinel, like the first tutorial boss, the Grafted Scion.
Oh
Dude,
yeah.
the grafted Scion, you are not meant to beat him first try. Like, that is fucked up. Like, it's even worse than the Bloodborne werewolf, right? Because, like, the grafted Scion is like a Bloodborne enemy. Like, it's quick, right? It's got this, like, erratic move set that's just super hard to predict, right? Whereas in previous games, like, in comparison to, like, the Stray Demon or the Asylum Demon from Demon Souls, like, it feels doable. Like they're big, but they're slow. They're heavy. You can like read their moves like a way easier than the Grafted Zion. But yeah, the Elden Ring tutorial bosses were just fucking brutal, crazy. But yeah, and I guess my last expectation for Elden Ring was for the weapons to be like actually viable. Like there's a
Mhm.
myriad of weapons. There's so many weapons in Elden Ring, and I feel like every
Yeah.
single one of them are viable. Like obviously there's a tier list, and
Mhm.
some are like way more OP and accessible than
They had to
others. But I
nerf
feel like
Yeah.
some
Get the
actually.
nerf really soon.
for the most part, like everything's good. Like even just like a basic short
Blood
sword
builds.
or a sickle, or yeah, of course.
Blood builds are
Like,
very, very, very
oh, dude,
effective.
blood bills are OP as fuck. But yeah, I feel like this time around, in comparison to say like BS3, the weapons in Elden Ring are way more viable now. But yeah, that was, I guess, pretty much my expectation. Sorry for the long-winded.
All good, dude.
Oh, yeah.
All good. So what class do you guys pick first? JV.
So, like I mentioned, like I was craving the whole high fantasy thing, like going back to your whole saying that sword and shield type of thing with guard counters. So that's what I went with first. So I chose Vagabond. I was like, oh, cool. He looks like a standard like knight type of looking guy, sword, shield, and I
Is that a
saw the
faith
shield.
build?
No,
Was it?
but at first it was strength. I
Oh,
had a strength build first, so I
strength
was like,
build.
okay, I'll go with that first. I'm like, okay, I start off there. I went with it for a while. Then I went down south in Limgrave to that castle there. Forgot the name. And like along the way, I found the sword, the Bloodhound's Fang. In this jail guy gold thing, and I switched to Dexterity Faith. It's like
Oh,
Dexterity Strength. Sorry, Dexterity Strength for a while because I
nice.
found blood builds. Yeah, like I mentioned, blood builds
Yeah,
are
blood
so
builds are too
powerful.
OP. Yeah.
So like I tried it for like wow, this is so good, and like I got like a blood flame. What do I call that? It's you can like enhance your blade with blood fire or something like that. Blood
Yeah,
flame,
yeah.
yeah, something like that. So I did that for a bit. So I kind of switched it up for a while. Then eventually I got the winged scythe. So it was much lighter. It had blood damage, holy damage, and yeah, the reach was pretty good. But eventually, I kind of mainstayed with what do you call this? Blasphemous blade with what do you call this?
Oh,
Using blasphemous blade with the claw mark seal. So I went like dexterity faith. That was my build eventually. But
that's
Interesting.
so interesting.
because
I've never seen that combo before.
it was really fun, like because like you could really that's also great about the games. Like you could really like what you said a while ago, Elaine. Like how so many things are viable, and like I started having fun mixing it up along the way. So
Sick.
and
I
so the
love the
last boss,
Blasphemous Blade.
yeah, that one's is really good. Like I switched it up a little bit towards the end. Like I did like a double katana thing type of thing because of power stancing type of thing. It was fun. It was
Yeah,
so
I ended up doing the double katana as well.
because it looks so cool. I was like,
It does as well,
Yeah,
especially if you have good
man.
armor on it,
yeah. I was like,
like with the long
man.
hair armor.
So sometimes like, I go magic. Sometimes I go, double swords. I just switch it up whenever I feel like, they're both. I level them up both, so I can always just switch back if ever it doesn't work for the certain boss. Because some bosses really, you can't do some strategies for them.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the classes I used.
Cool, cool. Well, as you can see, I was playing prisoner for a while,
Yeah.
and then, well, I think through my whole playthrough, I had to do maybe 3 or 4 respecs. I did start getting that ice axe thing. I don't know if you guys heard
Oh
about that, which
yeah,
was
yeah.
very OP. Pre-patch. They had to patch that up, and then they patched it up when I reached Fire Giant. So I
Oh
didn't do
no.
Malenia yet, but yeah, I reached Fire Giant, and that would have been perfect for Fire Giant because it's just the ice thing.
Hmm.
But yeah, so when they patched it up, I had to change it up. But in that patch, in the next patch, they did a blood. They fixed up blood, the blood build. So I stacked up on that, and then eventually, know, it worked out well because you make your opponent bleed more. But yeah, Prisoner was quite okay. I like the mix of a magic and melee build. I didn't want to stick too much on melee alone or magic alone because
Yeah.
I like to move around, and with that you can also figure out the boss any other way and have fun with it. Die a few times or die more times. But yeah, what about you, Mary? What build did you make?
Um, so when I was picking the class, I didn't really think too much about it because it's Dark Souls, and if there's one thing I know about Dark Souls, the classes that you choose in the beginning matter very little. Actually,
Mhm.
but I do respect though with this game is they do give you a lot of options to kind of play around with the specking because like in Dark Souls 1, you can't like once you built on a stat, you have to commit to that build all the way to the end. So just
Yeah.
a note for anyone playing Dark Souls, just make sure you do your research before you actually build.
Yeah.
And but as far as the build that I was going for the game, just historically throughout the Dark Souls games and Souls games in general, I'm very guilty of just doing a sword and board build all the way throughout because it's just very easy to, and and with so many spells and like so much commit that you have to do to like faith or your intelligence, like then it kind of gets risky to play around with those things and to so I'm very guilty of that. So with Elden Ring, I made sure, hey, this is not going to happen. So once I chose the samurai, which I
Oh,
don't
it's
know
pretty
if I
cool.
mentioned that. I chose the samurai mainly because he looked cool initially. Chose the samurai, but
Yeah. Yeah.
eventually,
Let's go.
exactly, pretty much just aesthetics. That's how I do. I'm a big fashion souls guy, by the way. So
Hell yeah, man.
you,
Fashion soul is important, man.
Yeah,
it's hell important, man.
so,
Who
yeah,
cares about
you gotta look cool too.
exactly?
Gotta
Part
get
that's
that
part of
look.
Dark Souls. You look
You
at
gotta
glow.
look cool.
Yeah.
But it just started progressing slowly into something else. So I started with a samurai, and then eventually became like a spell mage build, kind of like what you were saying, Elaine. Not so much the carrion set. It started when I got the Sword of Night and Flame. So
Dude, that's a
though I
really
got
good
it.
weapon. It looks
That
so
was
cool.
broken. Yeah, before the
Yeah.
patch,
Dude.
which is really
I
I
almost
actually
switched my
got it.
whole like build because
Yeah.
of that sword. I was like, shucks, I'm
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
do this.
It's
So
such a
is it a
fun
magic
sword.
sword with the beam, the hype beam?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
and it's
Cool.
quick. I'm pretty sure. Like it's a quick beam.
yes, it's a
I
quick
did
beam.
build too.
I didn't really choose it because I thought it was OP. Actually, I thought I chose it
It was
because
too OP. Yeah.
the arts looked really cool actually, and I like the fact that you had like you had like that comet attack, and then you had the flame attack, and there's just the different utilities you could use with it. So with the flame attack, for
cool.
example, I would use it to kill like a ton of like a whole group of people. Flame attack, they're all
Nice.
dead. The comment I would use on bosses or just anyone in general, and it was just like, man, this is so versatile. I liked also using the spells that I had. So there's just so much cool stuff going on that I was just missing from all the Souls games because I was just freaking dodging and attacking, and that's the way I played. But now I was like, I'm gonna play it differently this time, and then it progressed after that into a full int build later on because I just figured that the comet actually did way more damage than the fire spell did, and I was just like, okay, I'm just doing a lot more progress with the comet. And then I got the Moonlight Great Sword, and then that's where I ended up.
Hell yeah! Nice.
I was just like, hey, I'm full on mage now. Let's go.
Nice.
I still use the Sword of Nine Flame from time to time though, because I do like the melee. I still like the sword and board aspect of it. I still like dodging, attacking, timing, all that stuff. So I just wanted a hybrid. Is kind of what I was going for.
That's what it's about, guys. Just mixing it up. Yeah, so similar to you, Mari. So I'm full on int build. I'm a straight up mage. That was my intention from the beginning. As soon as I saw Comet Azure, which is like the Kamehameha, I was like, I want that. I want that. That looks fucking sick. So yeah, I started out with the astrologer class, and just worked my way up, grinded, worked my way up to like 60 int, and basically as soon as I hit 60 int, the game just became straight up easy mode. And see, that's the thing. That's the misconception I feel like that needs to be changed, that like newcomers need to be aware of. It's like, oh, FromSoft games are hard. It's scary because of the difficulty. FromSoft games like notoriously do have an easy mode, and it's just called being an int build. Like when you like hit the soft cap for int, which is like around 60, 70. Yeah. And you comment Azure, and you've got the Flask of Wondrous Physics that gives you 15 seconds of unlimited FP, and you just 15 seconds just kamehamehaing a boss. That is just straight up. That's the content deleter. Like it came to a point where I did it like a number of times, and I was like, I'm putting this away. Like it's not fun, man. It's just like delete the game. But yeah, so. I went with a whole int build, and obviously my bread and butter are like long range spells. But one of my most memorable experiences in terms of boss fights in the game were when there are just some bosses that are just hard counters to mages. Like for example, there is a Black Knight boss in one of the jails, in one of the gowls or the jails in
Black Knight Tish.
Yeah. It's the boss where you get Black Knight
Tish.
It's in that elevated plateau at the end of Rani's quest line. I'm not sure if Mari, you have been there yet. But
I got the Moonlight Greatsword.
Because
you
got
that one.
the Greatsword. Yeah. So it's the jail there, and I tried going the normal like projectile spells and stuff, but because they're so elusive, I had to switch it up. So yeah, again, the beauty of Elden Ring is like you accumulate those larval tiers, and you can just respec your build as many times you want. Like I feel like by the end of the game, I had like probably 20 plus of these larval tiers, and I probably respec my character like 5 times. But I basically respect, as soon as I hit that boss, I respect to be able to use the moon veil. I don't know if you guys are familiar. It's
Oh,
that
I love
popular.
the moon veil.
The
So
moon veil, man,
good.
is so sick. It's like the Virgil sword from DMC. Like,
Oh
it's got that
right, that's
sick
right.
ass projectile. That's so good. So that was one of my funnest experiences with the game, was fighting that Black Knife boss with just Moonveil, no spells, just Moonveil's weapon art does so much posture damage. So I think pre-patch it was so broken where you could just spam the weapon art for Moonveil, and it has two weapon arts. So it's got this horizontal projectile, which is the R1, and the R2 is like a vertical projectile, and that's the one that does massive posture damage. And you could just spam that repeatedly before. But when it came to me using it, I think that was already patched. But there was still a way to sort of spam it where you would assume your stance, unsheath stance, press R2, you'll do that amazing weapon art, and then if you just backstep with circle, you could do it again. So just doing that, evading Black Knight Peach's attacks was just, oh god, like my heart was absolutely racing. It was such a fun experience. So yeah, so basically I had the standard int meta build. That was my like bread and butter. And sometimes if I want to switch it up and go melee, I'd go with my Moonveil and spec around Moonveil. And I don't know if you guys have also encountered, but there is a dodge. There is a weapon art. Not a weapon art. There's a there's a weapon art that is straight up as good or maybe even better than the Bloodborne dodge. Like it has so many iframes. Bloodhound Step, man, dude, that thing absolutely changed the game for me. Like it was like a completely different experience. Like because like I as a mage build, like I would always be at range. I was never in the pocket or like I was never like in there with my enemy. But as soon as I got Bloodhound Step, I was like, dude, just evading every single attack is so fun. It is so good. So yeah, Bloodhound Step coupled with Moonveil, that was my like sub build. And yeah, so just playing the game with those two strategies was pretty much my build.
Can I just say, like, mentioning the larval tiers, how you have to collect them, right? Like you have to find random monsters along like the map. Sometimes you find like, oh look, it's just a little zombie or something in the middle of nowhere, and then you kill it. It becomes a freaking big bear or whatever. Like what the
Yeah.
So hassle. Like they killed me. I hate the bears. Fucking bears, man.
Dude, those bears. I think people have done people have data mined the rune bears and have found that like rune bears have more HP than fucking Malenia. Like it is insane, dude. Dude, the rune bears are one of the most broken fucking enemies in the entire game. I swear to God. Like it doesn't matter what build you have, those guys will put the fear of God in you. Like rune bears are brutal, man. I run for the hills as soon as I see one. I'm like,
bears.
Run!
I'm the type of person to like clear out a map before I go anywhere, but sometimes I'm like, I see like 2 or 3 bears that are like, forget that. I'm circling.
Yeah. Yeah, straight up, man. Straight up. Yeah. I remember. I think that's in Mountain House of the Giant, where it's like it looks like one of those zombies and you hit it and then it's fucking surprise. Yeah. It's a rune bear. Dude,
did you ever find the one lobster? Which is actually a Gratiscion in Liurnia Lakes.
Oh yeah. Dude, I got a heart.
Okay, so that's later on. I think we can talk about the animals later, but yes, stupid.
What do you think about the level design for Elden Ring? Because it seems like they pretty much progressed from all the Dark Souls series to the Bloodborne. Bloodborne level design was awesome. Having that castle, just going around it here and there. But they really put it to the test for an open world setting where you take these level designs from the Bloodborns and the Sekiros and put it in. You made a world out of it. So yeah, what do you guys think about
it? I guess I could start. And by the way, when you say level design, are we talking just the way that like dungeons, for example, are structured and like how you get to the boss, or just the overall aesthetic? Like, what is it?
Overall aesthetic. Overall.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah, you can talk about dungeons too. Yeah.
Yeah, like aesthetic wise, I'm just gonna kind of refer back to the old like Dark Souls games and stuff. Historically, it has been very literally dark in Dark Souls and just very dungeony.
Yep.
Like honestly, especially Dark Souls 1, part of the reason why it's so hard to play that game, I've been trying to play that game on stream, and it's like it is freaking dark. I have to squint to like see certain things. The lighting is all weird. And in Bloodborne, for example, they do make it feel very gloomy and dark and Tim Burton-esque and, you know, all that, like Cthulhu, like it basically gives you that feel. Elden Ring is in the freaking light with the sun beaming in your face everywhere you go.
Yeah, what a contrast.
The Earth Tree.
Yeah,
So
the
true.
Earth trees every fucking where. Yeah, and so that aesthetic wise, that was a big shift, and certainly like you get the From Software feel everywhere you go, like no matter what area you're in, like there's always like the aesthetic is there, despite being in the light. But like to, you know, a lot of your guys' points earlier, the open worldness is such a different, like gives it such a different feel compared to the other games where it was very linear. Now you can explore and then you can go like, for example, I was really surprised with Stormvale Castle, for example. Like such a small area in the map. It was just took a really long time for me to go everywhere. And you know, like, you know, it's not like a regular dungeon where you just have to follow this path. You can literally jump from one roof to another roof and then end up in a totally different area and explore that area. And you could sneak through, and I think you guys, I won't beat it down, but you guys have explained this earlier already, but you have so many ways of going about getting to a certain place, and I really like that. In fact, the funny thing was literally when you're going through the map and going through those teleport things, you really begin to see how big the world is, and you get shocked by it, and that's insane because you like just seeing Limgrave on the map, and I like that they just zoom it in, like, so that you think that that's great, this is a big world. You go into the teleporter, you go so far, and you're like, where the fuck am I? You know, like that's super insane. And yeah, it's great. I mean, as far as the dungeons though, like it's interesting. Like I do like stumbling into dungeons and going into it. They do seem a little repetitive. I know that they're trying to kind of to make each dungeon feel different, but that's one thing that I noticed because part of what I really like about Souls games is the fact that you can enter a new area and just be wowed by whatever is going on there. I think they're great at surprising you with that, and great at surprising you with the enemies. And like that's one of my like mini joys of Dark Souls is like going into a new area and then seeing something and then saying, what the fuck is that? Like that's that, and then trying to kill it and then dying. So that's, I think they did a really good job. I think as far, like, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. If you played Dark Souls, or specifically Dark Souls, it feels like you got a Dark Souls game and you're just like accordion stretching it out to where, you know, and then there's a lot of open space in between where you've stretched it out. So there's a lot of traveling in betweens. But at the heart of it, when you get to Stormvale Castle, or you get to a certain, you know, mostly the main areas like Raya Lucaria, it definitely feels like a Dark Souls game.
I like to add on to what Mari said. Like with Stormvale, I love Elden Ring is so great with the fact that you can really do whatever you like, and like apparently you can even skip Stormvale Castle if you wanted to. Like you can actually circumnavigate it on the side. Like I only found out that on later on. It's like, what? You could actually just go straight to Liurnia if you wanted to. Like you can actually do that, and like it's really, really amazing. Like for a new person like me, like I don't need to be forced to like go down a certain path. And the funny thing about what you said about Stormvale, like it really is huge, and like for just a small part of the map, and like I had to go back actually later on because I found out later on, someone told me, dude, you have to get this thing there, like from this roof. Like, what? There's something there. So I had to go back, and like, and there was this like this thing I had to give for this quest for Nefeliru or something, I forget her name. And like, so I had to go back, and like, there's so many things you can just skip out on because of how huge this game is, and like, and that's probably one of the biggest compliments you can give this game, because it is freaking huge, and like really like what Mari said, like the whole zoom in, like you think, oh yeah, it's a big game. No, it's freaking huge, and
Yeah.
and like the dungeon designs, and they're very interesting, and I understand that some parts can be repetitive, but there was actually this one like dungeon I remember very very well where it does like a PT type of thing where it repeats the dungeon, like you think
Oh
it's
my god, yes,
yeah,
yes. With the every time you would drop down from a
yeah,
ledge,
yeah.
you'd think
yeah.
it's the same area, but it's completely
It's
different.
different.
Yeah,
So,
that fucked me over, man.
Dude.
That's,
yeah,
Which one is
Yeah,
this?
I was
Which one is?
stuck. I was like,
It
what
was-
the hell is going on?
it's below the capital, I think.
yeah,
the subterranean
exactly.
things.
Ah,
I got
It's where
lost
you-
there for a while. Yeah,
Yeah, try not to keep going down though, because you might end up.
is it the sewers? Like something
yeah,
like a sewer?
the sewers.
Yeah.
That was trippy, dude.
Yeah,
that was
so
a trippy
trippy.
experience.
And like I was so like tired, like oh, I want to get out. I want to get out. Where the hell do I go? I got stuck there for a while. So sometimes, yeah, they change it up with these little things, and like which makes it really really interesting. And like yeah, I think From Software did a pretty good job with their level design because of how creative they are with really how big the map is and how varied it is.
Absolutely agree on all points, guys. I was gonna bring up pretty much the same thing, but yeah, you are just fucking amazed by the absolute scale of the map. Like it's just absurdly offensively big. It is so big. But the thing is it's not like an FF15 big or something where it's just empty open spaces filled with nothing.
Mhm.
It's not. It's like literally every corner is jam packed full of content, lore shit to unpack, new enemies to encounter. But yeah, so in my opinion, like I feel like FromSoft are the devs that like put level design as like something you need to prioritize in your games. Like they're so famous for it. And for good reason, because like level design, like in Bloodborne, like when I first played it, absolutely blew me away. Like the shortcuts, like if you actually look at a map of like how Bloodborne level design, how their level design was structured, it's just amazing. Like how they managed to like interconnect all these different pathways for it to just make sense and for it to just progress so satisfyingly, where you reach a point where you're like, fuck, I really wish I had a checkpoint here, and then bam, here's this elevator. It's so good. Like FromSoft, the level design is like their specialty. It's like their signature dish. It's so damn good. But I feel like Elden Ring is made up of two games. You've got the overarching overworld, that's one part of the game. And then you have the legacy dungeons, right? Which is like Stormvale, Raya Lucaria, stuff like that. Where the legacy dungeons, that's the classic FromSoft feel. Like I feel
Right.
like Elden Ring is like if you got Dark Souls 1 to 6 in like for your birthday, like as a Christmas gift, like, but it's just squished into the one game. Because each legacy dungeon could be like a FromSoft game. Like for example, the Stormvale, because we keep remarking on how big it is. Stormvale is bigger or as big as the entirety of Boletaria, JV McGee. That's like the big castle area in Demon Souls.
Okay.
So can you believe that? Like the intro, the first legacy dungeon you encounter is like as big or even bigger than like this massive giant section of one of the previous games. Like
Dang.
it's insane. Like I was going through Stormvale as well, going like, oh my god, like I'm having tons of fun, but when is this legacy dungeon gonna end? Like it's been 5-6 hours. Like holy shit, this is an absolute experience. But it's so good. But yeah, level design, man. Like what can you say? Like it really shines. Like in the dungeon, the legacy dungeon, the shortcuts, so good.
Then you can remember how there's so many ways to like go to certain like areas. Like there are like freaking 3 underground cities. Like not 1, not 2, but 3 underground cities. Like
That was insane to me
that's
too.
insane too. Like and like
Yeah.
apparently there are like multiple ways to get to them. Like so if I teleport from
You're talking
here-
about the elevator that goes all the way
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
exactly the
Yeah.
first one, and then apparently there's like 2 other ways to go there, and like there's another one through like the secret ending type of things, and like It's great. It's
This game is
crazy.
massive.
It's
I'm
massive.
surprised
Yeah,
it's not. I'm surprised it's not over 100 gig.
Actually, yeah.
yeah.
So they really optimized the game. Like there's so much to do and like so much to see. So
Yeah.
that's true craftsmanship for game devs.
That is true.
Mhm.
So yeah, so in the same at the same time with level design, they also pretty much cleaned up the map, like in an artistic way. Whoever made this map must be very proud because they didn't stick too much UI to it. Like
Yes.
it's a clean map. You just put I this is pre-patch. I don't know if they changed it up now, but they just put the light the waypoints, the light grace. What do you call it?
Mhm.
The
Yeah, I
Great,
think
yeah,
they're called
grace. Sides
waypoints.
of grace. Sides of
yeah,
grace.
Slice
light
of
grace.
grace.
Yeah. So yeah, so they just put that in the map, and then it's simply just a marker of where to go. Where your last checkpoint was, and they didn't even put like your quest is to go here, to go there. So it leaves a lot for exploration. So what do you
Mhm.
guys think about that?
But it's alright if I can start.
Sure.
Well, so just it took me 155 hours to finish this game.
Nice.
155 hours. So, and like it's because I'm the type of person who FOMO, well, fear of missing out. So, like what you said, like how the map is so big and like there's no markers, anything. It's really up to you to really like explore and find. And unlike other games now, where you see their maps and their UI, it's full of little markers, which make it kind of like it's so confusing and like it
Yeah.
becomes daunting. Like it's little like question marks everywhere. Like okay, I have to go there. But here it's up to you. It's up to you to find these places, and like that
Yeah.
makes it very unique and wonderful. Which I think it will influence games from now on. Like you don't need to have all these like little markers for your gamers to find. Like you can actually make it simple and like and reward the players for exploring themselves. So it makes it exciting again. Like unlike before, where it's like
It's
okay,
very
I know there's a
rewarding.
little I know there's like a little question mark that way. So that means that's the only thing there. Unlike now in Elden Ring, it's like oh, I happened upon this cave. Great, I I was rewarded for exploring and going off the beaten path. So I think Elden Ring really did really well with that. Like sometimes simple and sweet is all you need. When it comes to map design,
That's right.
you don't need to be so confusing with it. Mhm. Your thoughts?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was like
completely agree.
blanking out.
Sorry.
What was the question again? Like as far as like what you're
UI.
trying to
The
explore?
map design going in line with the level, or pretty much the world,
Oh, okay. Like the actual map. You're talking like the
the
actual
actual
like when you
map.
pull up the
Yeah.
map. Yeah, it's interesting actually with that one because yeah, to your point, there are those like
Sites
I
of
forget what you
grace.
call it, sites of grace, exactly. But
Mhm.
then you have like they don't really tell you what it is, but you have those little arrows that are pointing
Mhm.
towards
Where you
where
should
you
go.
generally need to know, except not really because you go into
Go
another
around
side of
it.
grace and then it's literally going. There's another one going down, and you're like, where the fuck
Mm,
is
Actually, yeah, I was so
Yeah.
confused. I was
Yeah.
so
What?
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly?
Yeah.
So I think it's like to me it's the nudge. It's like hey, like this way, but to
yeah, that's right. That's right.
no real end, you're just kind of going and then you go and then you go um and then yeah, you kind of explained that well already, JV. Like you're kind of going, like often you want to go down the beaten path through it. The other thing I really like the aesthetic of the map too because it definitely feels kind of like you're opening a map, like an old school
Yes.
map,
Yes.
and then you're just
Right?
like
It's so good.
you're
It looks
just
so nice.
it looks great. Yeah, there we go. Oh, it was like
I
open for
opened it
one
real
split
quick.
second there, but yeah,
Mhm.
if you pause there on the podcast, you'll see it.
Yeah, she paused there.
But yeah,
Elaine, you can go. You can. Oh, unless you're not done yet.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, I'm good. I'm good. Go
Okay.
ahead, man.
Um, yeah. So like you guys mentioned, yeah, the map is absolutely massive. Like we've been reiterating before, but yeah, I feel like the map of Elden Ring is probably closer to Skyrim than Breath of the Wild in terms of size. Like I think it's maybe 3 or 4 times bigger than Skyrim's map. But yeah, it's so damn big. But I think you guys mentioned, or Mari, you mentioned how like there are some dungeons or there's some areas that feel a little recycled. Like for example, those burial watchdogs. You know those
Oh
sort
yeah,
of like
yeah.
cat-looking statues. Yeah, like they do. You do. It gets to a point where you feel like I feel like I've beaten like 18 of you guys already. But to be fair, to FromSoft, like each barrel watchdog has different movesets depending on the weapon it's equipped with. Like the one with the hammer has a different moveset to the one with the sword and stuff like that. But that aside, there are probably still like 30 to 50 unique bosses in the entire game, which is a lot. Freaking massive.
It's a lot, dude.
But yeah,
It's really not.
like JV, I am also the type of player that would like scrape the area, like to just absolutely go to the ass end of Limgrave and try and discover as much as I possibly can. And yeah, Mary, you mentioned I love how you are in Limgrave and you only have the Limgrave map. So you think, oh, okay, this is how big the map is, and then you get
Mhm.
the Weeping Peninsula's map, and then it just expands, it doubles in size, and it just keeps going on and on and on to the point where you're like, oh my god, how big is this map gonna get? Like there are so many times throughout the game where I felt like it was the end of the game, or I was at the halfway point, but I wasn't even close.
Mhm.
Yeah, right. You think I'm almost done. I'm almost done. Then you go to this
Yeah,
other place in the
yeah.
middle of the map, and you're like, what?
Yeah, and then JV, you mentioned how sometimes it could be a bit overwhelming in a
Mhm.
map. All these different markers, the question marks, like in Witcher 3, right?
Yes, exactly.
Whereas in this instance you don't have that. I think it's a good thing. Like for example, in Skyrim, you would see dungeon markers, or you'd walk past it. In Breath of the Wild, you'd fall into a pit, discover a shrine, cool. But in Elden Ring, it's 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 so convoluted to the point where, like, for example, you'd go into a particular catacomb behind an NPC, and you'd be like, shit, where's the lever? How do I unlock the boss door? Turns out what you have to do is uh, activate an axe trap, jump on top of the axe trap, to jump on a platform, kill some necromancers, hit an illusory wall, and then you fight the super secret boss, and that's where you get the freaking lever. Like, I love it. I love how absolutely crazy some of the levels are. But yeah, I mean, going back to the map, sorry. Like, yeah, every area has like bits of discovery that has value. Um, and yeah, the map I feel like was a work in progress. Like I feel like when the game came out at launch, like it probably wasn't done yet because like there was a patch where
Hmm.
you could see NPCs on the map, whereas
Oh.
like people really struggled with that because it's not like other games where there's a menu of the active quests you have where you could just be like,
Yeah,
okay,
it's not.
I'm gonna fast travel here to continue this person's quest line. You don't have that in on soft games, right? So I think they had a patch where you could see where like White Mask Barre is and where
Yes,
Nestle
yes.
Lou is, stuff like that. So yeah, I feel like the map was a constant work in progress, where they would like gauge players' experiences and be like, okay, we'll fix it. But yeah, I feel like the map was designed in a way that has these unique and really beautiful illustrations indicating points of interest. Where like, for example, I found every black spot that has like a really thick red outline. It's always like a mine that has
Mhm.
like these
Oh,
really valuable
interesting. Oh, yeah,
crafting
Oh,
yeah,
I
yeah,
see.
materials
yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Smithing
smithing
stones.
stones and somber smithing stones and stuff. And yeah, Mari, like to your point, I also love how you've got that glowing grace that's basically an arrow telling you roughly where to go, even though it's not perfect. But I feel like it's an improvement in
Yeah.
terms of like, for example, like in AC games and Assassin's Creed games, you always have to jump in and out of the map to like see where you are. Whereas if you
Synchronize
don't feel
yourself in the tower.
yeah, go from tower to tower. But if you don't feel like doing that in Elden Ring, you just follow the glowing grace and be like, okay, I'll
Mhm.
That's
go in
right.
this general direction. So yeah, I feel like that's definitely an innovation that FromSoft did. I love not having to jump in and out of my map like 15 times a minute.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, dude, yeah, the map is crazy, crazy good.
Well, similar to what you mentioned a lot earlier, Elaine, comparing it to like Final Fantasy 15,
Hmm.
where it was a lot of it was open world and it's
Yeah,
quite empty for FF15, right? But this one, yeah, you did mention like it's spread around, like every corner you go through, something happens, or there's like
yeah,
an enemy there, an interesting enemy, and then you could just go deeper and deeper. Um, but yeah, like one thing I wanted to mention was like every decision you make, like around the map, whether it's a quest or entering a dungeon, it
yeah.
really has an effect moving forward with your playthrough. Like
Hmm.
like what JV also mentioned is very rewarding, like to explore, right? So
Absolutely. Yeah,
and another interesting thing is would be, I guess, with these gray spots or waypoints, it made the game a lot easier in terms of pacing. At least, like if you were to die, at least you just spawn in a checkpoint. Compared to the other
yeah.
Soul series, I think you spawn in the beginning of a certain level or or wherever you teleport to. So it was quite hard to go back to a boss, go back to a certain room, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh,
I
sorry. Go
haven't
ahead.
played. I haven't played. Sorry, I haven't played a FromSoft game, a Souls game in a while. But yeah, there are definitely some boss runs that are really unforgiving, where you have to just sprint and try not to get clipped on the way to the boss because it's just so long from like where the fog gate is to the lantern or the bonfire or what have you. Um, but yeah, Elden Ring is definitely way more forgiving in that sense. Like sometimes there's like a sight of grace right outside the boss door. Like that's how
Right.
generous they
Yeah.
are sometimes,
Yeah,
and it's such a quality of life thing, but it's so important. Like it's like shitty boss runs is like definitely one factor to for people to just rage quit and be like, I'm so fatigued. Like I don't want to go through this. Um, but yeah,
it just shows that the developers hear their gamer base and like their player base.
They're
They
listening.
understand. They're listening. Really, like how we can just improve our game ever so slightly. That simple
mm-hmm.
thing, makes so many people happy.
JV, I think that's why you like to continue this game. Like you always tell yourself, will I finish it? Will I finish it? But
Yeah,
they made it a lot easier for you.
easier.
Like
Exactly. It made it a
especially
lot
load
easier.
times, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I played on PlayStation and on PS5 the load times are
Yeah,
barely
it's
there,
same.
and it was really smooth, buttery the entire time. I had no qualms, and like see like from the video, it was
Yeah.
that fast, that snappy, like
Yeah.
barely anything. And like unlike before when the previous generations of consoles, this generation really has improved a lot of things, and like developers really did well in this. So I had no issues with waiting. And so whenever I died to a boss, and yeah, like what Elaine said, checkpoints would be just nearby the boss room, and like, okay, I'll go back in, I can do this again. Only every so often would there be like a maybe like a field boss. I'd be like, okay, I have to run for a while and beat up the
Yeah,
enemy.
yeah,
Yeah,
you can avoid them.
Yeah,
You can
just
avoid
yeah.
them.
those, just those. And I have to run for a bit, but that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even
So
like the
Mario, yeah, I
decision.
watched you play Dark
Oh, go
Souls
ahead.
recently.
Yeah,
And then I noticed like, shit, why is it loading so long?
yeah, dude.
Because you were
I
playing on the
know.
Switch, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was
So
part of it. Hmm.
that's right. So I like coming from a veteran, Souls gamer. What do you think about the load times?
Yeah, what's funny is that I did not notice the load times in Elden Ring, but I did notice the load times in Dark Souls, and
When you went back.
that was huge. When I went
Yeah,
back, I was like, "What the fuck? Has it always been like this?"
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. But the game did a lot. Like to your guys' point, they did a lot of quality of life improvements. Even like something as small as like the site of America. I think it was like that
Oh,
one
yes,
thing. Like
yes.
it was not
Yeah,
a
yeah.
bonfire, but like the game was just
It's
like
like a
we
boss
still
checkpoint.
exactly. We
So
still
good.
want you to. You still want the bonfire to be here, but hey, like if he needs some, whatever, here it is. I still do
How good it
find
is.
that I have to do like your typical Dark Souls, like to your point, Elaine, like running through just so you don't get clipped, and
Yeah,
like
man.
it's a thing.
Rough.
It's definitely a thing.
Here we have the Rune Bear. Stupid.
Was this the rune bear you
Rune
guys
Bear.
were talking about?
One
I
of
hate
Yeah,
them.
this bear.
there you go, dude. Those guys are everywhere. They're all over the game.
Dude, their
Hate them.
charge is OP, man. Like the
Yeah.
way they
Yeah,
charge. It's
they don't. I don't think you can crumple them. Like I don't think you could ever deplete their posture gauge. Like it's just they don't. They have hyper armor, like constant hyper armor. Nothing phases them. Yeah, so tough.
I think it's the first time you meet a rune bear, right?
Yeah, it's this cave.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the cave. And you have the
Looks
rats.
Yeah.
And I'm just running.
Rats really suck, by the way.
Yeah.
Like I think rats are
Oh,
well,
Especially if
just
they have
a-
poison.
exactly. They're just meant to be a tool to where like when you
Just
drop
to
down a
annoy you.
hole.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
they'll clip you, just like what you mentioned a while ago. Like, oh, there you go. It ruins your like a perfect run. Like, well, you'll be unprepared by a little bit.
And you have to heal, and then you just
You
waste the
heal,
potion. There you go.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it goes. And like,
Like,
Just
oh,
annoys
fuck
you.
this.
so yeah.
But yeah, going back, exploring does grant you rewards and new
Mhm.
discoveries. Like you'd get probably the most OP weapon or accessory.
Mhm.
Anything interesting like accessories or weapons that you guys want to mention that we haven't mentioned yet?
I guess like one of the earlier things you have to get is like aside from the torch, you have to get the lantern thing on your side. That was
Oh
super
yeah, that
useful.
helps.
That was
Mhm.
super useful. Like for newer gamers who want to get into Elden Ring, you have to get that. So it's super
Yeah, like
super
this.
useful.
I don't think I had
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I noticed it now. I was like, oh, it's so dark. so
It's
it's
so dark.
super useful. So yeah, it was really a super useful tool. There's this one torch you can use. It's like a beast repellent torch. Super useful too. Like if you're in certain areas, you can those dogs in Caleb. You can use that to like remove that. And there's this other torch where you can see invisible ghosts, the ghost things, the Black Knight
Yeah,
people.
dude, I
and-
love the ghost thing too.
Yeah, so there's a torch which reveals invisible characters. So super useful as well.
Yeah.
Especially
It's like a
I
punk-
just kept fighting this guy.
Yeah.
especially in that one area with the assassins.
Exactly.
Yeah, like it's somewhere in the giant area.
Yeah.
Like I forget. Yeah, but I remember that part. I needed that torch to actually find them.
They keep backstabbing you. Like, what? That's so unfair. I was like,
Are these
I was like,
the imps, the really small guys?
Oh
No,
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 this is
no,
another
no, no.
area. It's
No,
like
no,
in
no.
the like
right before
some-
Malenia, I think.
Yeah, right before Melania. It's like this one area where you kind of have to enter an alternate
Jail thing again.
version, an alternate version of a village, and there are like 5 assassins there
Wow, it's
who are
cool.
invisible.
Yeah.
And you basically just have to wait until like you're just walking around. 5 seconds later, you just get assassinated.
That
by
is
you
yeah,
don't
that
know
is
what, and
so
then you die.
unfair. That,
Yeah, it was
so unfair. That's why I don't regret being a mage because it's like half the enemies are
Distance.
unbalanced against our favor. Like fuck it. Like if a win is a win. Like oh man, that's crazy. God, I forgot about those invisible guys. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That is nuts.
It's like if
I
you
do
don't
wanna
explore, then
mention-
yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
I'm done,
I was-
I'm done actually.
Yeah, like, do you guys? Well, this is a very big. This is one mechanic of Elden Ring, but I just want to give mention to the talismans. This is a talisman,
Oh.
sorry, not the bell, the one that summons.
Oh, summoning bell.
the summoning bell.
Oh,
Yeah, there we go. Because like that was a very new mechanic in Elden Ring that I want to bring up. Not quite an accessory, but definitely is a big part of it in my opinion too.
Mhm.
Like once I got the mimic one though, like the
Oh,
freaking
the mimic
slime
one.
thing.
Yeah.
I didn't need anything else. But I remember the
The
first
mimic
time.
really helped. The mimic's too OP though, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of does.
It's funny, like I you know how like before you fight a boss, like you try leveling yourself up, and what I would do to like buff myself, I'd have a secondary weapon, like a little dagger which had little weight, and it will have a like a ability which will like a golden vow ability. So I would use
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay, then
Nice,
okay, I'll
nice.
jump right in, and then sometimes I'd forget to switch back to my main weapon, so I'll be holding this little pinky dagger, and then I'd mimic myself,
Oh,
and then my mimic
yeah.
will be like holding a dagger, like, oh no,
Oh no! Oh my god, that is the one downside with Mimic. That is the one downside.
Yeah, so but it's only
100%.
copying whatever you're holding at that moment. So it's like, oh crap.
Exactly.
It's like,
The
it's-
AI is pretty bad.
Yeah, Mimic.
But
used to
then
be
I've seen my
broken.
mimic change
Oh.
weapons. Like
Ah.
from like I was using a blood weapon. This is against Malenia, and
Mm.
then I just happened to have a wand for
Okay.
rock, the rock, the rock orbs or the rock thing.
Ah.
And then he would do it. I'm like, dude, just use the blood thing. Use the blood weapon. So he has his own AI, I
Yeah.
guess.
It does.
You know.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Malenia is such
it
a
used to be
D.
broken as fuck. And as soon as I heard it got patched,
Mm-hmm.
I decided not to go down the Mimic. I think Mimics benefit if you have, like, if you're a pure
It's a
melee
tank.
build. Yeah, if
Mm-hmm.
you're a pure melee
Uh,
build, I think you definitely benefit from that. Like, if you're a super tanky character, like I've seen, like, strength builds with Mimic absolutely beat the shit out of Malenia because like she gets she gets stun locked with anything, like any heavy R2 greatsword. She gets crumpled with that. Um, but for me, I went with so my first summon was Oleg. He's like a
Oleg.
dual wielding summon you get
Oh,
from
that guy.
the starting area that needs a
It's pretty
stone
good.
sword key with the fucking carriage, with the horse-drawn carriage roaming around and everything. He carried me through so much of the early game to like bosses where I probably deserved to lose, but he was just so tanky. And
Mm-hmm.
then I went from Oleg to Black Knight Teach.
Black
Dude,
Knight Teach
Black
is
Knight,
really good.
dude,
So
Teach
good.
is insane because like
It's
even
the
though she's not
MVP.
tanky, she's so elusive that
Yeah.
I fought Loretta of the Halley Tree,
Oh yeah.
the
Mm-hmm.
knight, yeah, the female knight.
Right before you fight
Dude, I
Malenia.
barely had to do anything. I kind of felt bad. I was like, shit, Teach is just owning. But yeah, sorry. That's those are my summons. But I decided to
Interesting.
go Mimic with my second character, so I went New Game Plus, went completely switched my build to a melee build. And yeah, you think that with Mimic is so fun? Like it's so fun. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, because I'm rocking a greatsword with my second build.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a weapon art you can get called Lion's Claw or Red Mane. It's basically you jump up into the air and then you spin vertically and then land. And that was just my bread and butter. And just you and your mimic doing this to bosses or whatever enemy is just so OP. Like it feels great. It's completely different experience to a mage. Like it's completely different experience to a mage. But yeah, that's the beauty of Elden Ring, man. You get so much replay value. Just so many ways to play the game.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so many ways to approach the game. So we're like pretty much towards the end, but do you have any problems with the game? No game is perfect, you know. Any thoughts on, you know, things you hopefully want them to fix with the game at least?
I think multiplayer could be better. I mean, like some people, I think they're okay with the whole summoning way, how you can summon your friends. But I think it could be simpler for new people like me. I was like, "What's this whole finger thing?" I got
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
confused.
right. Like you have to read it. Like, oh, so this is for summoning, and that's
Yeah,
for something else. Yeah.
and I got really confused for a while. I was like, "What? What finger?"
It's definitely a Souls feature that's always just been there. So they kind of just expect like, oh, everybody's
Oh,
gonna
it's a
know it.
finger souls thing.
Finger
Yeah.
It's a
souls.
history.
Dude.
Well, this it's like the summoning stones. You know, it's usually a thing you like kind of mark it on the floor and then like
Yeah.
basically
Oh, I get it.
summon.
I get it.
Mm,
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of
It's a
how
fantasy thing. Yeah.
it's always like. Well, I forget where that was introduced, but Dark Souls 1 definitely was kind of like that. Like you kind of mark the floor and then you even invade. Well, the thing that I noticed about Elden Ring, I don't know if you guys experienced it, but I didn't get a ton of invasions
ah,
this playthrough. And by
I
invasions,
didn't either.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Did
it's
you
kind of
more
get
like
like
invaded a lot, Mari?
what's that?
Did you get invaded a lot?
Oh no, I did not. That's what I was saying. Like,
Yeah, me too. Fuck,
no,
me
yeah,
it's
too.
it's
that's
it's
I
a,
didn't
Same
get a
here.
single one.
it's a
that's
feature
my problem
where
with it.
you
Sorry, go
have
ahead,
to
JD.
like there's a way where like, apparently I
Because use a
researched
finger.
online. You have to research. I researched online about that because I was always worried about someone invading my game because I've heard about that too.
Yeah.
So there's like a setting where it's actually off for all people right away. So
What?
Oh,
No way,
that's the
really?
It's
default
automatic. Dude,
setting.
that's like
it's
Interesting.
it's
automatic.
like the history of Souls games.
So what you have to do is like you have to
What?
turn on like something and like so you're allowing yourself to be invaded at any time or something.
Okay.
Gotcha.
See, I
So it's
love
like
that. I love the invasions. They're one of the best
Same.
parts of.
Dude, I
Yeah,
kept getting
dude.
invaded in Demon Souls so many times.
I think it helps for like newbies. Like imagine like me, I'm a
I guess
newbie, so
so.
that's
I
why like,
guess
I
so.
understand
Yeah.
your complaint too. So I was always like wondering, why come I'm never being invaded? So
Yeah.
I googled it and like, oh, okay. So you need to use a finger or something.
Yeah, I couldn't get those fingers to work. Like JV, you mentioned White Mask Barre's quest line to get
Yeah.
to Mogwin's palace. I
Mhm.
couldn't. I don't know. I kept using the finger, but I just couldn't invade anyone. I don't know if I was over leveled for the area I
At the
was
Blood
in.
Church,
Maybe
where you
over
have to do
level.
But
something in the Blood
but
Church.
I couldn't. So I got to Mogwin's palace to the
The
on
long
that
way.
quest.
Teleporte.
The long way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the multiplayer of FromSoft games. Like I didn't do so well in like DS3's multiplayer. Like I always got creamed. Like I very rarely came out with a W. But with Bloodborne, damn man, I love the fun. There's this area in Bloodborne that towards the end of the game, on the way to Mariko's wet nurse, it's like this kind of long stretch with a bunch of pigs and stuff. And that place at the time, and I'm talking like 2016, that was like a famous like dueling spot. Like you would like ring a bell there, and you'd know you'd always get someone to fight you.
Mm.
And I love like the etiquette of like FromSoft multiplayer. Like
Oh
you
yeah.
bow first. If you do
Yeah.
a gesture and the other person does a gesture, you know it's gonna be
No
like an
healing. I think
honorable duel.
there's a
Yeah, sometimes like
red
you
red
wait for
rule.
the other person to heal. Like if they don't heal, then you know that okay, this is a fight to the death sort of situation. Or if they do heal, then you go okay, so we can do that. But I would sometimes get messages from randos being like GG's dude, or sometimes they'd be super salty like dude, what was up with that attack, you fucking scrub, or whatever. So fun. I loved it, man. I loved it. It was so good. And yeah, I want to experience that in Elden Ring. I still haven't really
Figured out the
touched
system.
the multiplayer aspect. But I've seen like people on YouTube do it, and I think there's this area in the mountaintops of the Giants that's like a famous dueling spot.
There's one in
Not
Lyrinia.
I mean, in the big
in
pot
Liurnia.
area, the where you
Oh,
burn it.
It's a carrion with the palace. There's like a little
Ah,
circle place over there. That's
yeah.
where you
The
enter.
entrance,
oh,
the
The entrance right
entrance
there.
before
That's
the
famous.
elevator. Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's the one.
that's
It's
a
the
sick
famous one.
area. That's
That's
a
the
sick
famous one.
area. I've seen that.
It's a
Yeah,
round,
yeah.
area.
It's like a perfect for like a duel.
Yeah. But in terms of problems with the game, Miki, you were asking. I've heard tell that apparently at launch PC was absolutely fucked. Like it was not
It
optimized
was.
for PC. It's what I feel so bad for like some PC gamers because like some games are just not optimized for PC, and it's ironic because like PC gamers have like the ideal setup, right? They got the best video cards,
If
best RAM, all that.
the high
But
end
then,
PCs.
yeah, high-end PCs. But then the devs, naman, like on their side, they don't put in the work. Like they just optimize it for console. So yeah, I heard that like at launch PC, like textures popping in and out, stuttering. Yeah, I heard it was fucked. Like 3080 cards, right? Like that's one of the most expensive graphics cards you
Yeah,
can get. Like
3080.
apparently, like
Mhm.
3080s would not run well. Like it was not optimized for it at all. Like DirectX 12 issues. But yeah, so console is best. I've heard that apparently PS4 has the least amount of input latency. Like it's the only way to get a locked
Yep.
60. Whereas
Yeah.
PS5, I'm pretty sure it's stuck at like 30.
Really?
No, no, no.
But
PS5, considering it had two settings, it would do a lock 30, but
yeah.
the 60 wouldn't be locked. It'd be dipping down
Oh,
every
Mm.
now
okay.
and then.
Yeah.
But from my experience, I didn't really notice it too much. Like
Yeah.
even in
Same
boss
here.
fights, like
Yeah. Same
like
here.
maybe if you were very particular with your frames, I can't even tell if this was running a high 55 or
Mhm.
Yeah.
to 60. I would think this is still 60.
But yeah.
I agree too. I never really noticed like the stuttering of the frames with on PS5. I enjoyed my whole experience playing the game on console. was quite good, and like I was really impressed, even though it's not as visually aesthetic as maybe a Horizon, but I actually thought it was quite beautiful throughout the entire run. You know, did
Yeah,
a really good job.
yeah. The
Right. They
presentation
have
and
their
the
own
art style,
artistic way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
so good.
Like it shouldn't be compared actually, because
Mhm.
Souls games in general really have a good artistic way of putting it.
Mhm.
Like how we watch anime, isn't it?
Yes.
Comparing to other types of cartoons, right? So you know,
Yeah, man. This is
it
the
was
game could
pretty
get pretty
awesome.
fucking anime at times.
Yeah. Congrats
Um,
on being Redan, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that. It was like, oh, look at
Hey.
you. I was
Yeah,
like, yeah,
kudos.
it was like,
It was like what, five? I don't know how many attempts.
makes me want to use that sword again. Like, oh, shucks, that sword's so cool.
Yeah, but
Such
it's
an
nerf.
epic fight, dude.
it's
Such an epic fight.
it's nerf. Yeah, so I actually wanted to bring up, this is like pretty much how Elden Ring started. Like once you fight Radahn, you're like, wow, this is Elden Ring. You're like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's
What's
just getting
interesting
good
is
from here.
like what I my first like real Elden Ring was, I don't know why it was like it was Stormvale Castle. Actually, for some reason, that was like my most memorable one. But Radon,
Yeah.
I get why you'd feel that way. I think for me, the reason maybe why is because the way that I got into Radon, and I don't know how you guys got to that castle, but I got teleported there
Mm.
actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
so
yeah,
yeah.
you can,
yeah,
visit
so that's
Damn.
what happened to me. I was super confused actually, because I was like, oh, I found this. I showed up in Radon, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right, this is happening. Definitely.
Yeah, we're doing this then.
We're doing
Yeah,
this then, yeah. But definitely the fight was like to your point, Miggy, it was mind blowing. Like I've never ever fought a boss ever like that in the entirety of my playthrough playing Souls games. That was wild.
It's an event. It was a real event.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was wild. I was in shock. Like, well, everybody, like, it's just a very cinematic moment. Everybody just rushing straight at Radon,
Yeah.
Mhm.
like he's the king of
That
the
was so
fucking
fun.
world, you know.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Yeah,
guys,
this was
Radon
also
is
fun.
absolutely
Yeah, of course, you
epic,
got,
dude.
you got to have.
Giga Chad Radon, man. I think they patched him. Like he used to be so fucking difficult. Like, but I heard they patched
They
him.
patched him
Made him
twice actually. So it was
yeah,
difficult, and they made him easy. Then people
yeah.
complained because
See,
It
the
was too
ones
easy.
who passed through him found
yeah,
out, and they're like, "What? That's like
yeah,
the pinnacle of Elden Ring. You have to
yeah.
make him challenging."
Yeah.
And so they patched
Exactly.
him back to you
Yeah.
know.
I
There's
feel
a
like
way
that's
where you,
sorry, sorry, go ahead.
there's a way where you can cheese it, like in how he does his meteor
Oh,
attack. So
yeah,
like if you're at the edge of the map, because it's like a big desert type thing, and there's like a little edge near the water.
yeah,
So
yeah.
if you really situate yourself right there when he does the meteor thing, he'll meteor himself and then shoot himself into the water, and then he dies.
No way.
instantly. I didn't do that, but I just found out
I
online
know
later
that.
on. So-
That's
so
hilarious.
so
I wonder if
genius.
that's still around. If
I
that's
think
still
I've
a
seen that.
thing.
I've seen that.
So
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
dumb.
so good. But yeah, that is that. I guess that would be my only complaint is that due to the absolute scale of the game, you're gonna run into balancing issues.
Mhm.
Like I think, for example, like I don't know if that's still the case now, but early on, those rotten dogs, like those dogs that have that are afflicted with rot.
Mhm.
Like there was a point in the game for me where it was like applying multiple stacks of bleed, like each time they bite you, and you would just instantly hemorrhage and explode. And I was like, this is fast. Like that shouldn't be like that.
Mhm.
Or for example, okay, Mari, you're not up to here, but it's not really that big of a spoiler. But there's a tree sentinel in Crumbling
that's right.
Fire Missoula, and there's a tree sentinel before a boss. And
Oh,
for the
yes.
life of
Go
sorry,
ahead. I remember that
And-
process.
yeah, and for the life of me, I thought that the tree sentinel was like 10 times more difficult than the boss it was guarding. I was like, that. I feel like that shouldn't be the case. Like, I feel like the main boss should be harder than the, and rune bears, like what we've been complaining about.
I
Like,
think
feel
that's so
like
true. I
the
died
game
more
suffered-
times for that freaking sentinel more than the
yeah,
boss.
dude, we all did, man. We all did. Like, we all died like 50 times against that tree sentinel, but then the boss behind, we probably died like 3 times or something. But,
Yes.
yeah, like, and also, in the Weeping Peninsula, the continent just below Limgrave, like, there were bosses there that I swear to God, you could beat as a level 1 character. Like that.
That's true. Yeah.
And yeah, so there's definite. It's not a perfect game. You know, I think it's fucking 10 out of 10. But like, there's definitely balancing issues that that FromSoft definitely still needs to work on. But yeah, those would probably be my only problems. But I'm just nitpicking at this point because I think it's a fucking perfect ass game.
Awesome.
But like, if I had to nitpick, that would probably be it.
Like,
Also,
even, like-
sometimes camera.
yes,
there's,
camera.
Yeah, I was there. I was gonna feel the camera actually.
Oh, the camera.
like there's a boss that, oh my God, I swear you probably encountered like 15 times, but there's a worst. It's called ulcerated tree spirit. They're like these fucking
the big
bloodborne,
thingy, the things, right?
epileptic, schizo motherfuckers.
The one where you, when you get
they're like
Oleg,
these
that's what you
they're just
fight to get
constantly-
Oleg, right?
moving
One that-
super quick.
Yeah,
Yeah, the one that
yeah,
gives you golden seeds. The worm tree
the ones
thing.
that-
there.
Yes. And
Yeah.
there are some times where you encounter them in like in an enclosed space, and because they move so quick, they move faster than the camera, and sometimes you don't even know where they're coming from.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So it's definitely camera for sure. Some in some instances like that.
I
where,
just remembered also like
fun.
another problem for me. Like, there are some bosses which are so big, and like the place where you fight them is so big as well. Like, there are certain times of the fight where you feel like you're just running towards towards the boss. And, like, so you're running towards the boss. Like, okay, I'm going there. All stamina. And by the time you get there, they teleport to the other side. They're like,
Are you talking about? Are you talking
general,
about
like,
the?
yeah.
Okay,
which one?
gotcha.
No, go ahead.
I don't know.
Which one?
Now I was thinking of the one dude who does the big guy, the one that has the wings that you can even get that one of the wings as a weapon. Not a wing, sorry. Like he's a big insect centipede like dude.
Oh yes, that guy. Yes, that guy. The alien looking guy.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
that guy in particular really.
There we go.
Really annoyed me.
Are we talking about Astel?
Astel.
Astral.
The void, dude.
So
One of my favorite bosses in the fucking. That is straight up a Bloodborne boss, dude. Like straight up, like Lovecraftian Cthulhu ass shit. Like it's from fucking space, and it just destroys this entire civilization. And dude, Astel is so sick. Oh my God, the gravity bullshit. Like
he's
oh
cool.
my God, dude, that boss fight is epic.
I just
So
hated
very
the
interesting
run.
one, yeah.
I get you, man. You finish
the
your
run.
stamina. By the time you're there, you have no stamina to attack. Right?
And then he teleports to the side, like, oh.
I hear
boy.
you. Yeah, man, dude, I get you. It was a fucking hard fight, but it was so epic. It was so fun. Love the design. That weapon, the weapon that you get, Wing of Astel, I think.
Yeah, Wing of
Not
Astel,
from the boss, but on the way to the boss. Wing of Astel is like one of the most broken ink weapons you can get. Like the weapon art for that is like these three like meteors that just are suspended in the air and then it explodes. They do like a massive AoE. And depending on your imp, there's like tons of damage. But yeah, dude, fucking camera for sure is fucked. And yeah, the scale is just stupid sometimes. Like I felt the same way with Fire Giant. Like with Fire Giant, like I was it's so big.
But at least the place was huge. Like you really needed to use your horse to get around.
Yeah, you can use your horse, true. Which
time.
Thank God you could.
Yeah, if anything, like what's interesting about this game is the horse combat, and because I don't know if this is an issue or not, but
I'll be back real quick.
Yeah,
just go long.
I was expecting horse combat to be a little bit more dynamic than it is, because a lot of like if you were fighting on a straight up horse like just the entire time, you're literally just kind of trying to kind of go straight and like nix him from from the side like that.
It's a weird hitbox. Yeah, it feels like Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah, exactly. You got it. Like Dynasty Warriors. Like, but it's not very like. Okay, I'm not going to spoil a ton from Sekiro, for example. But
yeah, go ahead, dude. Go ahead.
Yeah.
But for example, like Sekiro, you're using like you're using the grappling hook a lot. It is very dynamic. Yeah. Like, okay, not the best comparison, but when you are fighting the boss that you were talking about earlier with the horse, like you're literally like grappling hook. You grappling hook him to go in, like. you're doing all these moves. Like I kind of almost wish that there's a little bit more to horse combat than just like
Just slash.
like
and
Dynasty
slash.
Warrior thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
it's
thing.
slow, it's clunky. I get you, man. I hear you. Like I would never. I mean, it is fun, the charge R2s, like depending, like if you've got a great sword, like
Yeah, I
seeing
have a
them
great sword.
fly into the air is fucking hilarious. But torrent, man, dude, the inclusion of torrent, I swear to God, that double jump absolutely changed the exploration of the game. Like you can do some Skyrim ass shit, like just jumping up mountains and stuff, man.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It's hilarious, but like you couldn't play the game without it. Like without torrent, yeah, dude. Like you would just your 155-hour gameplay would be like double without torrent. But yeah, I totally
That's
get
true.
you, man. Yeah, I wish it felt a bit better. But I don't know if you guys knew this, but like there are like straight up iframes with torrent. Like if you summon torrent upon impact, you don't get tagged. You don't get
I've
hit.
heard of
Like,
that.
yeah, you blow the whistle
Really?
upon impact, bam, you completely negated that damage. Fucking
I didn't know
hilarious.
that.
Also, if you don't meet the stat requirements of say like a great sword, if you don't meet the stat requirements, obviously you can't use it one-handed. Sometimes you could use it double if you two-handed. If you summon a horse, you could still use that, like say great sword, for example, like perfectly fine.
What?
Which I thought was kind of weird. Like if you don't meet the strength requirements, but if you summon torrent, you can still swing your great sword. Like that's pretty weird. But
I imagine that would be harder too. Like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree. I wish they did something better with the horse. But it's still a welcome addition. Like I'm still glad we got it.
Yeah, no, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm sure if they make a DLC or an Elden Ring 2, they'll add
Yeah.
more to the horse.
Because you see the map, right? There's some parts which are like still kind of empty, like in the middle. So maybe they might like add stuff like that. So we'll see
Yeah.
for the DLC.
People
I think-
are thinking the Colosseums. You know those Colosseums you
Oh,
can't go
yeah,
inside
it's so
them?
empty. You can't go
Everyone-
inside. That's true.
People are like, that's got to be DLC, right? There's got to be shit to do inside those.
Yeah.
The great jar warrior guy, the giant one.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that is so hard. I still don't think I've ever beaten that. Where like
You
you,
know
have
what
to
we
fight
should
these
do?
summoned NPCs.
Oh, the three
Three in a
people.
row.
Those people
Yeah.
actually are
Yeah.
based on real characters, real people's characters. So if you play online,
Oh.
like it online, they're based on actual players' like builds. That's why they're hard.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
interesting.
No wonder why they're so hard. Because they always vary. Like it's
Yeah, they
never
always
Yeah,
the
vary.
same.
they're different every time.
Dude,
And those
kills me,
NPCs
man.
they summon are based on players who actually beat the challenge.
Oh, no
Is
way.
this the one in the
So,
Volcano
yeah.
Manor?
No, the one in
You're talking about-
Caled, the one in
Yeah, it's in
Caled.
Kaled. Yep.
So-
yeah.
To be a jar warrior, you have to beat the jar warrior challenge as well. So
Yeah.
it's like a cycle.
Damn.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a cool one. Like I fought like what is the freaking very popular build with the blood build, the Rivers
Yeah,
of Blood.
Rivers of Blood.
Rivers of
Yeah,
Blood.
Rivers of
Yeah, like I had to
Rivers.
fight 3 of them in a row. 3
Oh my
Rivers of
God.
Blood in a row.
Rivers of blood.
Yeah, and then like
That's
literally one of
crazy,
them has
man.
like the one. Then like you'd fight like one of them with like the Millennia sword and constantly
Yeah.
doing the weapon R2. That it's insane.
It was
Damn,
difficult.
that's
That was actually one of the
awesome.
most difficult fights in the game. Oh, speaking of Malenia, Malenia was definitely something I had to really work hard on. I died to her like 50 times, like freaking.
Let's go. Yeah,
Yeah,
man. Me
it
too,
took me
man.
like 5
Didn't we all?
hours. It's like, Malenia's-
5 hours, same here.
Yeah.
Around
you
5
can see
hours.
her
too.
video. Like it took me forever. Like she'll forever be one of my most memorable bosses I've ever fought ever. Like, alongside like if you ever played God of War 2018, like the Valkyrie Queen, she's like there.
Oh
On
my
top there.
God. I couldn't
Like
do
that.
that, man. I couldn't beat the Valkyrie.
Yeah, so Malenia is exactly like her, and like she was such a
Damn,
big,
it's a cool animation.
yeah.
man.
She was really difficult. Like I had to figure out so many ways I can like affect her. I had to use like dragon's breath, like
almost
rot and cold, and
Yeah. What was your strategy, JV? How did you? How did you?
In
beat
the
her?
end, I used blasphemous blade. The weapon art, the what do you call that? The when you shoot
So cool.
down
The
like a fire
geyser?
thing.
It's like a
The geyser
fucking
thing.
fire geyser?
Yeah, the
Oh,
fire
dude.
geyser kept
Oh, the one
so
that goes
effective.
straight up.
It goes straight. You raise it up and then it goes to the
Does
ground.
it
Like,
launch her?
it stuns her. It
I've
stuns
seen
her.
that.
It stuns her. So when it stuns her, then you whack at her. And then you do keep doing. But so it was like the 50th try, and like and I had so hard to dodge. She was really so hard to dodge. Like the second part.
The boss fight, I love that. Like,
It was
it takes time to figure out.
I don't hate her boss fight. I still loved her boss fight. It was just freaking
Yeah.
difficult. As in, she was the most difficult boss for me.
But she
For
has no
sure.
pattern. That's what I noticed. Like,
Mhm,
it's her move set. You can't really tell what's gonna be next.
mhm.
You just gotta wish she doesn't do Omni Slash or whatever.
Yeah, like once
Yeah.
once she does it, it's basically game over. You just
Yeah.
have to hope that she
Unless
doesn't
you're
do it.
Easy game over.
let me solar her, that guy, who beat Malenia
Yeah,
a
well, I
thousand
guess.
times.
He knows how to keep distance
Yeah.
when the Omni Slash comes.
Yeah, he
'Cause
knows how
you're-
to dodge.
You have to
Omni Slash. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
because you have to keep a distance from the first wave, and then when the second wave comes, that's when you dodge roll. Oh, there, this one. You can't.
You have to dodge
You can
forward,
only
I think.
dodge. Yeah, you
yeah.
dodge forward.
Can I talk about my strat with how I beat Malenia?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead,
for it,
man.
Go for it.
All right, so I was an infield, and for us infields, like there are some fucked up ways to cheese her. So, all right, so first phase, I don't know if you guys, knew, but like if you keep a certain distance from her, she basically doesn't aggro. Like she just walks the whole time. It's only when you reach a certain distance close to her that's when she starts to engage you. So basically, there's a type of sorcery called night sorceries that you get from Celia, and there's a spell called Night Comet where it is an undodgeable projectile. So you throw any projectile at Malenia, she'll dodge it, right? But Night Comet, no enemy dodges it. Like for some, the whole point is that it's some kind of like assassination sorcery. So it's supposed to be invisible, but you can see it. It's visible. So my whole strat for the first phase was basically maintain distance, like stay the fuck as far from her as humanly possible, and then just spam Night Comet, whittle her down. And if she ever got close enough and did Waterfowl Dance, which is like her, Virgil Judgment Cut or her Omni Flash, I think so. The trick is, so it's 3 sets. So you dodge away from her from the first 2 sets of attacks, and then on the final one where she jumps up, you dodge towards her. So I basically use Bloodhound steps the whole time. So Bloodhound steps back twice, and then Bloodhound step towards her on her third thing. So first phase was no problem. To me, it was the second phase that really fucked me up. So I would save my summon until the second phase. So I had this summon called Omen Killer Rolo. So he's like a perfumer with like 2 great swords. And I used him for her because since he's a strength build, like every attack he would do would like stun lock her. So my whole strat for the second phase was basically survive the first hit, because like I think as soon as the second phase starts, she emerges from the cocoon, she jumps up. Oh, sorry, she initiates that cocoon attack where it's like this big AOE. So you basically have to dodge that, survive that first. And there's a bit of a delay from when she launches it to when she becomes active again. And I think it's maybe around like 5-6 seconds. And I basically needed to spend that time buffing to just guzzle up all my fucking my flasks, and then use Comet Azure, do the Kamehameha. So whittle her down to maybe 50%, 60% health. And then I would spend the next, like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes just trying not to die. Just like Bloodhound stepping my way, just trying not to die, hoping my summon doesn't die. But yeah, dude, the second phase was like one of the most memorable FromSoft boss fights ever. Like, it was fucking insane. But yeah, that was my strat, man. First phase, easy.
Good strat.
Second phase was a 50-50 for me. It's like basically I just couldn't get tagged, or I had no resistance to rot as well. Because like when you're within that AOE, your rot buildup just exacerbates. So yeah, dude, Millennia, man, Millennia.
How about you, Mary?
Interesting.
How was your Millennium fight?
Well, funny enough is I actually haven't beaten her yet.
Oh.
And that's
shit.
actually where I'm at right
I thought
now.
you did.
But
Fuck.
no, but
I'm so sorry.
well, it's all good. But it's honestly, I feel like the reason I haven't beaten her is because I'm very stubborn in that like I generally want to earn the fight in the sense that I just want to go in and like not necessarily sword and board, but just kind of like because you guys know the feeling, you know, like when like for example when you come across a hard boss. Like part of the Dark Souls experience for me is like, all right, this is it, this is the one, and then I get my snacks, I get my food, and I'm going to be sitting in this chair for a while. You know, that's kind of like that's kind of like the Dark Souls.
Long slog, dude.
Exactly. This is gonna be a while. You know, and that's kind of how I felt about Millennia. But then, and my strategy currently, at least, that I haven't really, I'm getting to the second round consistently. But there's like one time I think I messaged you maybe a screenshot of it where Millennia's health was like this much. It's so bad.
She healed
On the second phase, yeah, and then I just died. But
God.
My whole build is like I have the Prince of Death staff and then Sword of Night and Flame, and then I'm using Ancient Rancor to stagger her, and then
Okay.
And then when she's staggered, I comment. I'm using the Mimic too, but it's generally a very like sword and board hybrid fight with some magic, and I just want to feel my heart pumping while I'm fighting, like knowing that I'm not sure, like, and that's how I approach a lot. That's how I approach a lot of the games, like even Bloodborne or something. I've never cheesed the boss. You know,
the way to do it.
So,
the way to do it.
It's the way to do it.
yeah, but it's freaking hard. You know, it's insane.
It is.
It's satisfying.
Man, good shit. Fight that honorable fight, dude. That's the way.
Stream it, dude.
I can't wait to do it. Like,
Just
because I'm on my melee build now, and I can't wait to just cream her with my greatsword and just fucking launch her, stagger her as often as I can. It's gonna feel great. But yeah, melee.
Alain, do you know Zeus? Hey Zeus from Twitch. He's a Bloodborne speedrunner.
Zeus Your Toast? Yeah, dude, I love that guy.
Yeah,
man.
Zeus Your Toast. There you go.
Yeah.
I watched him fight Malenia, and he used no mimic and just two hammers, dual wielding hammers. And then like he's probably spent 3 days just fighting her. He made it hard for himself. Like legit, he'll just take his time.
Wild. Damn, man. That's
respect.
That's
Man.
fucking crazy. That's crazy.
Random tangent question, by the way. Like, Alain, you have tried a bunch of builds because, like, when I play Souls games, like I'm thinking, instead of thinking how do I get the most OP, I'm always thinking how do I maximize the amount of fun that I have in that playthrough.
Nice.
You know
that's the way to do it, man.
So like among all the builds that you've tried, what is the most fun? Or I mean, actually, it goes for all of you guys. I mean, like I'm pretty sure you tried a bunch of builds, but what's like the most fun that you had in a build throughout Elden Ring?
Oh yeah, shit, I can start. I would say like the only times I would say the mage build is more fun than my melee build is when I'm going against the boss. This is completely unfair, and I have no regret of using Comet Azure to destroy them. But more often than not, it's always the melee build that I have. Like the two most memorable boss fights I have from the game are like the Black Knight Tish fight I had it was like a straight up duel with Moonveil. That was so fun. And the next one was not Loretta in the Howie Tree, but when you fight Loretta for the first time in Liurnia. The castle north of Raya. The name escapes me, but yeah, that fight against her, I used it's called Carry and Piercer. Mari, I think you're familiar with that. It's like it's like a lance.
Yeah,
it's like you summon this lance.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I mean, technically you could say it was a melee fight because I basically just used that the whole time with Bloodhound Step, and it was so fun. Like that was so fun because like it would stagger her consistently. Because she moved so quick that like none of my projectiles were doing any effect. But yeah, I would still say my favorite builds would definitely be like the build that I'm running with now, which is Great Sword, Bloodhound Step, Red Mane's Claw or Red Mane's Lion Claw or something. It's yeah, completely different experience. It's the closest to Bloodborne I could get in Elden Ring, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, for my builds, I think I really had a lot of fun with the Fate builds, like my Fate Dex build, because I like the whole lightning thing. So I had a lot of fun
Lightning,
using lightning
yeah.
bolts and raining down lightning from above, because it looked so cool. I was like, oh my god, I'm like picking Thor, in this game. Why not? So I mix it up, like I fight with the sword, and then if someone's like being a dick from afar, I use up with the projectiles and stuff. Like actually, there's this one like Fate spell. It's the claw mark beast spell. It's you
Oh yeah.
throw a freaking rock.
the ground.
You show a
Yeah,
freaking
yeah,
rock
yeah.
to someone,
Yeah.
and it only uses 15 FP per like shot, and I had a lot of FP, so
Wow, that's
I
so
could,
cheap.
it's so cheap. So I had like 170 FP with my build, so I was like, okay, I
Nice.
just kept throwing it like, real far.
Sick.
Like,
Fuck
it was
it.
so good. And I was like,
Yeah.
so Fate was really really fun. But of course, when I first started, I really had a lot of fun with the whole sword and shield type of thing, and like like it felt really like a classic knight, fighting and like taking your time, blocking, guard countering, which was really really fun. And like there's so many viable ways of playing, and like they were all enjoyable in different ways and different times. So I recommend, like, how Elaine's doing his second playthrough. I completely understand why people love going back and trying new things along the way, because
Yeah.
everything can be fun. Even the whip build, like this guy's using whips and
Yeah,
like
Yeah, this guy,
dude.
this guy was hard to
Go
fight, dude.
full on
Yeah, this dude was
Castlevania
fucking
with
hard.
this guy. Dude,
Yeah.
a whip build would be so sick.
This guy had the
double
the
whip,
back step thing,
the
the
bloodhound
whatever,
step,
what do you call the step?
bloodhound
Yeah,
step.
bloodhound
Yeah,
step, and then the
so
whip.
sick.
The whip would go around you. It doesn't go forward. It goes
Yeah.
around, so it hits you
Whoa.
even if you're to the right side. So I kept dying with this guy.
Wild.
So since we're talking about builds, I was using the axe, which I really like, but
Oh,
it really
ice cream
depends on who you're
hatchet.
fighting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So this is the axe where you can just do I forgot what
Hoarfrost
the
stomp.
step is called, but
Mhm.
yeah, frost stomp. There you go. And then if you had that bloodhound step, let's say if you're doing PvP, you can easily get around it, and he doesn't get affected. So there's a interesting fight. I just kept using what I had,
Mhm.
and I
Yeah,
guess
that was
together with the
tough fight.
great
Tough fight.
the sword, no.
Oh,
Then I had
Dude,
the
his
rock
armor
steady
set
thing just
is
for distance.
so yeah, his
Oh yeah,
armor
this
set is
armor
so
set.
Yeah.
stylish, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
speaking of PvP, like one of the weapons I was using, the wing scythe, has a special ability where if you hit him with the ability, it prevents other NPCs who are like, let's say other PvP characters to
From
And he had two
heal
healing.
whips.
from healing.
Yes,
So
I've heard
super
about this.
effective. Yeah, I only
Yeah,
found
man.
out like when I fought someone by accident. I was like, oh, yeah, I see him. He's trying to do the animation. And like, what's he doing?
Yeah, it's like eat shit, dude. Yeah, I love that. I
So it
love
was
PvP shenanigans.
so it was accidental. And like I researched like, oh, so it's super useful, and like and it does bleed too.
Yeah.
So pretty effective.
That
That's good.
ice cream hatchet, Miggy, that you're using to the Horfrost stomp. Early on in the game, like speedrunners were using that to just
Oh
chew
yeah.
through the game. And just,
Distortion too kept using it, and he did.
yeah, it was
I think
fucking
before they
broken.
patched it up, he was able to speedrun Elden Ring for 12 minutes. I think that was his record.
Damn!
Or 7
I
minutes.
hear
I'm not
it's
sure.
still good. I hear it's still good. It's just not as good as it
Still
was.
good if you have a
Um,
certain buff. You need a buff. I forgot the buff. But you buff yourself up, and then it's still good as it is. But pre-patch, it was like so OP. You didn't need
yeah,
buffs.
dude.
This
Yeah, I
guy's so
think a
tough.
frost build would be interesting. But that staff you're using, the meteorite staff with rock sling, dude, that thing carried me through the first like third of the
It's
game.
Oh,
stuns,
yeah.
Like, that is
man.
such a
It's
good
stuns.
fucking spell, man. Like as soon as I heard about it, like that was because I was using the starter staff for such a
Mhm.
long time into Glintstone Pebble, and then I found out about Meteorite Staff being arguably the best starting staff you could pick up with its S
Yeah.
with its S scaling. So good. One of the actually one of the times I cheesed the shit out of a boss, but I do not regret it at all, is there's a boss fight against these 3 fucking Crystallians.
Crystal.
It
Oh
is
my
the
god,
worst.
that is the
The-
worst one.
Dude, it's not fun. Dude, it is
No, I
not
hate
fun,
that.
man.
So
That
dumb.
fucking sucks.
Yeah.
There was a way to cheese these guys. All right, so you absolutely hug the fog door, just kiss it, and then just blindly cast Rock Sling. Dude, I killed I think I killed one of them. You can kill one of them.
Oh my
So
god,
at least
that's
it's like
crazy.
a 2-on-2 fight. And I had
This is
no
not Commander
regrets
Neil,
doing
no?
that, man.
It's not.
No,
Is it that one?
no.
Sorry,
Crystallians.
Oh.
Crystallians.
Yeah, it's like the one.
oh.
It's the thing.
With the one
that-
that the guy, the blue guy.
Oh, okay,
With
okay,
the
okay.
little
Yeah,
disc
yeah.
things and like.
Yeah.
Yes, dude,
yeah.
the worst.
I remember.
That was such a shit fight. Also, the gravity bull, or what's it called? The meteor,
The beast, the beast, the
falling star beast.
Falling
Oh
Star
my
Beast.
god, dude.
Oh,
Not the one in Altus. That's on the the one that's
the
in
one
the boss
on
arena.
top of the volcano,
In
volcano
Caelid?
thing.
Oh my
Mm.
god, dude, that is arguably, I think, one of the hardest boss fights I've ever had to do. He's so quick. He doesn't stagger.
Mhm.
Dude, that fight was insane. That fight was insane.
I had to upgrade like a strike weapon. I had like this flail thing I got from way back in the start of the game. Like I had so much extra stones. Like okay, I'm freaking upgrading this because like strike weapons only can affect those
Yeah.
Crystallian guys. Okay, and then I had to use a mimic. Like okay, both of us are using it now. So it
Yeah.
that's actually how I did it too, man. Like I basically, I think I got like a Black Knight flail that I
Uh-huh.
got somewhere.
Yes, that's the
Yeah,
one.
that's
That's the
Dang.
one.
Yep, that's the
Dude.
way you kill him.
Dude, I rock
Forever.
my way to victory, man. I was just spamming it, praying to God I wouldn't die. It was insane.
It was so difficult. Freaking Crystallians.
Dude, this is such a funny fight. It does make me think though. Like, I do want to do a playthrough using the weirdest ass weapon I could find.
Oh.
Like that's
Yeah.
Like the bubble weapons, the bubble.
Oh,
yeah,
the
man.
bubble.
Yeah.
The bubble.
if it looks freaky, that's what I want. That's what I want to use.
Yeah, I'm
But yeah,
so anyways.
they had a lot of weird boss fights. Some gimmicky ones like this one.
Yeah,
like
actually,
where you
Oh,
had to pick
yeah.
up the thing.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah, pretty fun. Like, I didn't know you had to pick up the thing. I had to fight this guy like 20 times, and then I figured out, okay, there's something here. I have to use it, apparently. I can't just solo him with what weapons I have.
So
Mm,
effective.
This thing was too OP, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for just
And
like
then
boss
when I
level.
finally got this weapon, or figured it out that you have to use this weapon, I believe like a few tries, I already killed him.
He's super
Yeah,
easy.
dude.
Super Hunter.
Dude, that is such an interesting fight. Sorry, the against Rykard.
mhm.
Yeah.
So, in the previous in Dark Souls games, there is
Yep.
a weapon. Yeah. Oh my God, what's it called? Shit. Oh God, it's like a boss
talking
fight
about DS3?
specific weapon.
Like you're talking about the
DS3
DS3 fight?
had it. Yeah, when you fought Yorm, the giant.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I
have
thought when I was fighting this one.
Stormbreaker. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a great sword that's just specifically used for the boss. And Demon Souls has it as well against the fucking manta ray thing. You gotta use Storm Ruler, I think it's called in Demon Souls. But I feel like this one, the Serpent Blade thing,
Super Hunter.
Serpent Hunter, man, I think it is the most satisfying version of it yet. Like the
at that, it
absolute
looks so cool.
range you have,
I know,
yeah,
right?
like that attack right
The
there, is
animations in this
so
game.
cool, man. So cool. Like I didn't even know about it. Like I was bashing my head against Rykard until I figured out that you needed to use this weapon.
Same here, man. I reached phase 2 and like, what? There's a phase 2? I thought it was over by this one.
Dude, the intro to the boss, like the voice acting has been memed so much. Like he's so funny that we will devour the gods together. It's so funny. Like his delivery is fucking hilarious. I love Rykard. Um,
Yeah.
have you guys ever come back to
Yes.
the boss
Yes, I
after
have.
beating him?
Yeah, I
I-
have.
I
Oh
did
my
not.
god. Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
I-
you should, Mari. You should
Yeah,
check it
I
out. Tell
usually-
me, like, tell us how
Okay.
what you find when you go back. It's pretty interesting.
Okay, sounds good.
It's related to another quest line of patches.
Interesting.
So yeah,
I
so
didn't do
yes.
this. I didn't
Yeah,
know
so
that
yes,
also. Is that part of Platinum?
I
No,
forgot.
no,
No, no, I don't think so. No, I think so.
Okay. I thought it was.
Yeah, it
Dude,
was-
this part was like, oh man. It's so
God.
gory.
Yeah, in the recusant's quest line, you know how they give you like basically like assassination targets to
yeah.
kill. So I didn't know what. Obviously, it makes sense now in hindsight, but I didn't know that if you kill Rykard, then you basically lose.
Oh yeah,
those
yeah.
quest lines.
Exactly.
I was like,
Oh, you
fuck.
didn't.
I was so mad at myself for a while. I was like, shit, I should have left him till way later in the game. But I'm the type of guy that will like completely clear out one map and then move on to the next
I
one.
understand completely. I was
I
making
get
sure
it.
I didn't accidentally close myself out of certain quest lines. Actually, speaking of, even though I platinum the game, I'm 100% sure I did not see everything yet in this game. There's several
Yeah,
other
same
endings I
here,
have
man.
not.
Yeah.
There's so many
This
things.
game
in
is
this game.
massive.
It's
It should be
massive.
worth
Absolutely.
$120.
Exactly.
If we're talking about the worth of the game.
It's like, and even with
Um,
the endings, like I had to like for PlayStation, there's a weird way of like auto saving, like so I had to like make sure I didn't like overwrite my save, so I can do like
Same
multiple
here,
endings.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty,
You
see
save
the
some.
necessary
Yeah.
endings, save scum
Dude,
type
dude.
of thing. So just for the endings, because like
Same
I
here. Same
yeah,
here.
so I beat the final boss, but I had to make sure I was able to see everything. So yeah.
Elaine, you mentioned the beta, right? Like you were talking about those 4 classes that wasn't in the game. Something
Sorry,
like that.
come
Like
again. Miggy, what was the question?
in the open network you were talking about earlier about the 4 classes that is not in the game. Something like that. Right?
Yeah. So yeah, no, it
Oh,
wasn't. So like,
yeah.
I guess they did it to really like showcase, like this is the cool shit you can do in the game, and like yeah, I think it worked. Like people got super hooked on it. But yeah, so in the network test, I think one of the classes was it's Enchanted Knight. So you're like a carrion knight with a
Mhm.
bunch of spell sword spells,
Mhm.
and then I think another one was Samurai. Third one was the Blood. He's one of the NPCs.
Mhm.
Oh god, I forgot it. Blood Knight, Bloodhound something.
Yeah.
And I forget what the fourth class was.
Well, anyway,
But yeah.
they were saying lore perspective. I could be wrong, but the quest line of what you just said about this one, when you fight Rykard
Mhm.
and you lose all the quests, so the people you have to assassinate are the ones in the open net. That's what they're saying.
Oh, that makes
The 4 classes
sense.
in the open network.
Yeah.
So there's like a lore perspective there.
Oh,
That's why
interesting.
you can't use them. You actually
Interesting.
fight them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
So I
like
have
wasn't
yet to see that and notice it, but I didn't watch the open network too much, only just a bit.
Mm.
But that's what they said, which is
Huh.
good lore, I guess.
Yeah, that makes complete sense to me because, like, okay, like when you think about like all the marketing that was done for Elden Ring and all the previews was using, and even actually, I think the quote unquote main character like armor is the lone wolf armor, like raging.
oh that one, the one with the long
something.
hair
That
thing.
guy.
One
Yeah,
of the
that
long-
guy. That guy.
Yes,
That's pretty
Yeah,
so
cool.
that guy, the only way to get that armor is through the quests, actually from the Volcano Manor. So that is my favorite armor set, by the way. So I use it sometimes, and
Mhm.
It's so good.
and it's so weird. Like you literally see that person everywhere, and you're like, and that you can only get it through
the
that.
the lion dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
white hair, like white
Yeah, it's-
flowing thing in the back.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
so
you
sick.
basically look like, I don't know how to even explain it. Like just you go
It's
to
pretty
the first
badass.
Elden Ring trailer, you're there. Yeah.
There.
Actually,
So
I
good.
think
There's
you're
just
right.
so
I think
many.
yeah, I noticed now with all those things you fight in those quest lines. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's correct.
Lane's gonna do it again. he's,
I
gonna, he's gonna go back.
need those
New
armors.
save, new game,
New
new game.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
actually,
mean,
I want to play it again. It's just the time.
The time.
You really have to
Dedicate.
have a lot of time to. Yeah, you have to dedicate a lot of time to play this game.
Mhm.
yeah.
But I'm sure in a second playthrough it'll be much faster because you know what to do, where to
Yeah,
go. I
Exactly.
guess
It's
you have
exactly.
an
yeah.
idea of what to try out.
Hmm.
Yeah, dude, going back to Limgrave on New Game Plus is nutty. Like you just cream everybody. It's pretty cathartic. Like going to back to Tree Sentinel, being like, dude, you ain't shit now, man. Like it feels great. It feels great. Like giving his comeuppance. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would do a new
So
game plus. Oh, sorry, got me.
go ahead. No, no, go. Go,
No,
go,
I was
go,
just
go.
gonna say I would like play the game again if there were DLC. If there was a
Yeah,
DLC release.
Oh man, just wait, dude. It's coming,
I'm
man.
sure.
It's coming.
Actually, yeah, that's why I don't want to play it yet because I know if you start a new game plus and then the DLC comes out, it becomes harder if I'm not mistaken. Like with Bloodborne, like if you keep doing NG plus, and then when the DLC came out, I heard like people are having a hard time because the DLC bosses adjusted to your new game plus.
Oof.
Ooh,
That's correct.
fuck. Yeah,
Does
man.
that make sense? Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So there. That's what I'm afraid of if I play the DLC of Elden Ring in the future. So maybe I'll just do another, fresh start, just for another save or something like that.
Yeah, Miggy, I think I had that experience in Bloodborne, like, cause I never change characters. Like my save file in Bloodborne is just the
The
same character.
main.
So when
Mhm.
yeah when Old Hunters came out, like I was probably on New Game Plus 4, New Game Plus 3, and fighting Ludwig on New Game Plus 3 or 4 was fucking insane. Like I
Mhm.
couldn't beat him. Like it was so hard. But yeah, Mari, like I feel like maybe wait because I feel like imagine if the DLC was in like you unlock it once you reach Lanedale, like once you reach the capital. Like that's like 30, 40 plus hours until you get there. So like maybe it might be worth like staying towards endgame and then wait for the DLC so that you'll be able to access the DLC straight away rather
Yeah,
than
no, it makes
if
sense. I think that's the
if you
thing.
start a new game, you'll be like, fuck, it's gonna take ages to get there.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
and then it's a more wholesome game experience too. Like just waiting for like do all the DLCs, then finish the final boss using some of the new DLC weapons, armor.
Oh,
Hell
that'd be
yeah.
cool. Actually, that's a good
Yeah.
So
idea.
good.
And crossing this in the level, man, it's just like crazy good. This view,
Oh yeah.
like getting across, man, it felt like a movie, a part of a movie or
Yeah,
something.
man. Dude, the draw distance is so like
The draw
it's
distance,
crazy.
very
I
good.
can't believe how fucking far. Like it's
This game
insane.
is
It's
huge.
like
It's really
It's
is.
an
yeah, you look
adventure. This
over
game
there
is
and
an
you're like, oh my
adventure.
god, I was over there. It's insane.
Yeah, diba? Um, so yeah, so one great thing about Elden Ring, since it's been, I think it's 6 months. Yeah, it's their 6 month. They've had like 12 million sold copies. Is the word of mouth, like how
Hmm.
people play this game. It really brings you back to the old times wherein you really didn't have Google to help you out or these
Yeah.
YouTube videos to
Hmm.
help you out. So like everyone had a different experience. Like, dude, did you fight this boss or did you do this? Did
Exactly.
you do that? I'm using this weapon right now. So like it really helps promote the game.
Hmm.
So it makes like people like JV come in and try to experience their first Souls game ever.
Yeah, definitely.
Jed actually played Elden Ring in his first Souls game as well. And what he liked about it is building his character, having these OP builds, and also sharing with me what he discovered because I was doing this ice frost thing, and then he did like another build. I forgot, but like an intellect build or a magic build. He also did rocksteady. um but yeah, you know that's the great part about this game.
Definitely.
Oh, we didn't talk about the music.
Oh,
Ooh. the music, the score, the music score of each boss fight is quite interesting. Like Margit was pretty awesome, but coming from Bloodborne or these Dark Souls, I'm pretty sure you guys were, that's expected, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah.
Soundtrack is
Mari, I don't know if you would agree, but like in my opinion, I feel like the music for Elden Ring might be the weakest amongst all of them. Like
Mm.
in my opinion, I still think Bloodborne has the absolute fucking best soundtrack. Like it's so it's so orchestrated, it's operatic. The vibe, like without the music, like Bloodborne wouldn't be as scary, or as ominous as it's presented to be. Whereas in Elden Ring, I don't know. I feel like standout tracks would be like the intro theme. Um, I can't even recall like which tracks in Elden Ring really stood out to me the most.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I agree with you, Elaine. Like, I think it's partly too because like when you go into like Dark Souls and Bloodborne,
yeah.
like especially the boss orchestra, the boss music is just very over the top, in my
Mhm.
opinion.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
just blaring like choir like
Yeah,
style,
dude,
like
so epic. Yeah.
it does have the epicness, and then like so when you're fighting, you really do feel it. Whereas like I feel like Elden Ring,
It's more subdued.
yeah, more subdued. It kind of reminds me almost like not exactly the same, but Breath of the Wild had like a very
Mm.
similar like
Mm,
I agree.
kind
I
of
agree.
sound design like choice where they're kind of like I don't really want to like have these atmospheric music. I kind of want the environment to tell the music through
sure,
like your
sure.
experience, and
I
that's
get
kind
it.
of like what you
Yeah.
have to go through with Elden Ring anyway. You're exploring,
Mhm.
Yeah,
you set the mood based on the way that you're exploring, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Only a few like moments in the game, like I remember from for the music. Like of course when you first meet the Tree Sentinel, the Tree Sentinel boss music, I always remember that music. Like becomes
Mm,
like like okay, I'm gonna fight
yeah,
this
yeah.
guy. That first part of the game, the music there was really memorable for me. Whenever you hear the dragons, I think the music also is kind of memorable there.
Oh,
The dragons
yeah.
always had this like intense music. So, but I agree with both of you. But it's like it's not as memorable as other games' music. I mean, like of course the sound design is very good. It's just that I think it's not exactly its best
Yeah,
feature of the
yeah.
game. Mhm.
I would say so as well. Like,
Mm.
Miki, you're familiar with like Distant Worlds, right? Where it's like Final Fantasy games orchestrated.
Mhm.
Like people watch that. Like there's a YouTube video of like I think somewhere in Sweden or something where they did it for
Bloodborne, I
Bloodborne.
think had.
Dude,
Yeah,
it was
Bloodborne. Yeah, I've seen
so
that.
hype, man. Dude, like with the opera singers and everything and the
Mhm.
orchestra is so epic. It's so epic.
Considering Bloodborne's a Sony exclusive, it is, right? It's
It
pretty much
is, yeah,
Sony. Or I mean
yeah.
PlayStation. I think the budget when it comes to being a Sony game
Yeah.
is high. When it comes
Could
to, so
be,
with
yeah,
that
you're
budget
probably
being
right.
high, they
Mhm.
put it more on music.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Because like
if
You're
you
probably right.
notice all the PS exclusives, music
mhm.
and sound design is really good.
Ghost of Tsushima has really excellent music. I think Ghost of Tsushima,
Yeah.
God of War has really great music. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt has lots of great music when you
Oh
play the
man.
game.
Yeah.
Really
Oh,
good music.
so good.
Um, excellent. So,
They really want to push 3D audio.
yeah, especially the
Oh,
audio.
the experience. Um,
Um, yeah, well, maybe like other games too. But yeah, maybe if you compare like to Cyberpunk, I guess. Oh,
mhm.
music is okay, but depends. But in
Cyberpunk.
general, Elden Ring was, yeah, music was okay, pretty.
But yeah, I
Nothing.
love how
And I
we
like
can
the
all
open
agree
world.
that
It is very calming.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very comic moments
yeah.
actually. Like we're in
Yeah.
Limgrave, like hear this music and like okay, it's easy here, it's
Actually,
chill.
when you hear just the music, like let's say you YouTube it and just hear the Limgrave music, it brings you back. You're like, shit. You kind of go back a bit and you're like, oh no, I'm playing the game again. Like, you were kind of like stuck in the world for like a few months or a few weeks,
Mm,
depending how long you played. But it really like it feels like you live there for quite a bit.
mhm,
The immersion was real.
Yeah, I think that's what this game did really well is it made like and that's kind of what I like about RPGs and open world RPGs for that matter is like you almost like, you know, whereas when you play Dark Souls or Bloodborne, that they tell you the story, whereas open world games, at least for Elden Ring, I told the story of what was going on in the game. Like as an example to that, like fighting the tree sentinel was very memorable to me because I remember I dodged him because I was like, you know, this is definitely the tutorial boss. I just kind of moved away, but I remember trying to fight him again, and then dying, and then finally getting the bell, and then getting the 3 wolves,
No.
and then I was like, all right, me and my buddies, we're gonna, you know, let's go, and then beating him after that. That was like a memorable story for me, in the game, and I was like, you know, or even like something as little as going through Limgrave and then entering that whole storm area where you have these giant, like those giant.
Oh yeah.
What do you call it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was memorable to me because I was like, you know, like when I go into games like Elden Ring, I literally don't go in blind. Like I don't, you know, look at anything, and
That's good, man.
And that's kind of like, you know, like your imagination almost kind of goes wild about like what's happening in that moment. Not really sure how to explain it, but yeah, I thought Elden Ring did that really well.
Nice. Yeah.
It's fantasy.
Completely agree.
Yeah. So anyway, we're in the last part actually. What do you think the future of Elden Ring will be? Will it be its own franchise, like a Dark Souls?
I feel it will definitely
Or
be. I feel like it will
yeah,
be. It'll be something separate from Dark Souls. It'll do, but if ever they do something, they really have to make sure the quality stays the same. I'm being optimistic. I'm sure they'll do something about it, or possibly they might venture out and do something entirely different. You know, like how they did with Sekiro and Bloodborne. They might do something new in a different genre or something. Who knows? But I feel like this will become a franchise for how popular the game was or is. Yeah, it sucked me in, and like I'm a big
That's
fan now. So
Completely agree, man. I feel like since Breath of the Wild, like Elden Ring changed the game. Like it's made a whole new benchmark for what open world games can be. And it's like a blend of different genres. Like due to its size, it almost even feels like an MMO sometimes. You know, like. But yeah, I think people are going to be talking about this.
part.
Sorry, Miggy.
It's just the multiplayer isn't as as baked in to the game. If it was, it could have been an MMO.
True. Yeah, exactly right. So yeah, man, I think this is definitely gonna win Game of the Year, like for sure. And
definitely top contender.
Yeah, dude, 100%. Like, it's not, if not Game of the Year, Game of like the decade. Like people are gonna be talking about this game for like 6 years minimum.
Oh, yeah. Probably. Like if they do well with DLC, let's say they bring back these players to play the game again with DLC. Yeah, they can even make it an MMO. I wouldn't be surprised with how big this world is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting with Elden Ring. Like, in the short term, I feel like they're gonna do. Obviously, I think we all know where they're gonna do DLCs for this game. But I think what really interests me with Elden Ring is like when it comes to From Software games, like they always try to. Well, they have their mainline Dark Souls series, right? Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, and then they have kind of like Bloodborne or Sekiro, where they're kind of varying up the game and then kind of introducing another game with new mechanics for a whole new fresh feel. Exactly. And then so when I think about Elden Ring and where this kind of goes into the mix, I do see it as Dark Souls, like with, or at least a From Software game with this new mechanic of being an open world game, and like you were saying earlier, Elaine, like the best hits of everything. But I think what's interesting about this is it almost feels, and this might be a really hot take actually, is that it kind of makes certain elements of Dark Souls obsolete, in my opinion. Like meaning,
I agree.
Meaning the way Elden Ring is, it's so similar to Dark Souls, but they just made it better. You know,
100%.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what Dark Souls has to offer now, like versus Elden Ring. You know what I mean? I'm like, what else does Dark Souls have to bring? Like Elden Ring has everything that Dark Souls has, and that's why I'm
Makes
like,
sense.
I'm kind of like wondering, like, well, what's next? You know, are they gonna do a Dark Souls 4? Because if they do a Dark Souls 4, then to be honest, it's gonna feel a lot more plain than Elden Ring. Like, so I think just my prediction here is that they're either going to build upon this Elden Ring, you know, the improvements that they made up on like with Elden Ring, and make a new one. And that's, to be honest, that's the only way to go in my opinion, because if you kind of go back to the Dark Souls days, it's just like in just pure
Step back,
pure
you're
linear.
regressing. Yeah,
Exactly. You're regressing.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on, dude. Like, I think that when DS3 was marketed in 2016, like, it was marketed as like, this is the end. This is the end of the DS series. This is Miyazaki's last Dark Souls. You know, it felt like this huge swan song. But yeah, I think Elden Ring's definitely gonna get a sequel. And in terms of the future for FromSoft, man, I'm one of those guys that's still hoping and praying for a Bloodborne 2, dude. I just want it to happen,
here,
man. God damn, like, I
Or a
just want it to
remake,
happen.
man. I don't mind.
Or a remake,
too.
just re-release it, please.
Should I play Demon Souls or Bloodborne first? You know, because like I have both.
Ooh,
Oh man,
that's tough.
it's gonna be
That's
hard
tough because,
going
dude,
back
you'll
to
be
30
surprised
frames,
with
man.
how good Demon
That's all I'm
Souls
gonna
is
say.
in terms of graphics.
Yeah, because the new one looks so good. I don't know.
Yeah, dude, like the graphics of Demon Souls, it's still my top 5 in terms of best looking PS5 games, and it was a launch game.
Yeah,
It was a
dude,
lot.
best
Elaine
launch
can
game ever.
probably agree to this, man.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful looking game.
Yeah.
Stem
Oh,
cell
I
is
never. Yeah, no, that's next on. That's next
The,
on my list.
the thing
It's actually
with
free on PS
Bloodborne,
Plus. It's free on PS Plus.
it is.
What do you call this? Extra and
Are you
deluxe.
an extra now?
Yeah, I got
Nice,
extra,
nice.
so it's there. Demon
Okay, dude.
Souls. Yeah, you can just get
So
it.
you can, dude. It's just
Download and play.
enjoy it. You just enjoy it. You're
Yeah.
gonna be in awe with how it looks. And if you think about it, imagine if Elden Ring looked like that.
Mhm.
Like, let's say Blue Point made a remaster of Elden Ring for some
Mm.
reason, and it looks like that. Oh my god!
But yeah.
A game of the century.
Yeah.
Not even just a
Point.
decade.
There's a really good there's a there's a good documentary on like how Blue Point remade
Oh, I haven't
Demon
seen that.
Souls. It's I think it's a no clip documentary. But they built it from the ground up, man. Like, it's crazy. Like, it really is a remake, like, in every sense of the word. But you can tell that Elden Ring is running on DS3's engine, like 100%. It looks really similar to DS3. But yeah, if Blue Point did, man, it would be an absolute mammoth of a task. Imagine having to remake that game. Holy shit. Dude,
Every
it's gonna take like 10
corner,
years
every
more. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
probably,
Oh my god.
probably that would be
Because
a
I think it's
development
running
hell.
on DS3's engine because they probably started development on it like years ago, bro.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
they said
Probably.
after DS3 was
Fucking
released,
massive
they
game,
were already
yeah.
working on Elden Ring for like 5 years.
Yeah, I bet. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, 100%.
Damn.
Sekiro was, since it was another another publisher, different team because it's
Ah,
Activision. So
Gotcha.
yeah,
and they did really well there too. So
and Blue Point was handling Demon Souls. So you really had a full-fledged development team there.
Yeah. And to answer your question, JV, like it's an interesting one because if you've played Elden Ring,
Mhm.
like, and you go back to playing Dark Souls, like it's a hit or miss. Like, to be honest, like the way I look at Dark Souls now is it's just more of what you've experienced in Elden Ring, which is good. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, it's a whole new thing. You're like, FromSoft will surprise you. It's great. It's still not a bad game, but I do think that definitely like Bloodborne offers stuff that Elden
New.
Ring, like
Different.
Elden Ring doesn't have, and so does
Yeah.
Sekiro. Like, for example, like
Agreed.
Bloodborne, like there's still like one of the most satisfying things is like the freaking like changing your weapon into the other, like
Hell yeah.
it's so
cool,
satisfying.
dude.
It's
Oh
freaking
my
it
god.
feels like Transformers in your
You're talking about Bloodborne,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Bloodborne.
yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
so satisfying using that. And then
It
Sekiro
is.
actually is
So cool.
really, really good too. Honestly, I can't even explain the game I don't want to spoil anything for
That
sure.
might
but-
be the one I might go for first. Maybe Sekiro then probably Sekiro Bloodborne. Maybe.
I just thought about it. I think you should do either Sekiro, Bloodborne, and then do Demon Souls after.
Yeah, I think so.
Dude,
You'll
if
need
you
it.
can
because-
do Sekiro, you're gonna nail Bloodborne. Like,
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Though, to be honest with you guys, I think that Bloodborne, in my
It's harder?
opinion, is the hardest among all the Souls games.
really
I've played.
harder
Really?
than Sekiro? No
Harder
way.
than Sekiro. Yeah,
no
because
way.
yeah, Sekiro is hard. Don't get me wrong. Like especially like towards the end, especially. But I actually had a way harder time playing Bloodborne, and the reason is because for Sekiro, like because and here's the reason why. It's because Bloodborne, even if you're it's an offensive game. Like not, I don't
Yes,
say
it
offensive. Like like you are on the
Yeah.
offense with Bloodborne.
Yeah, in the offense.
Like you are like you are fighting and you have to attack, and when you get attacked, you
Yep.
attack back. You don't run.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
and that whole thing.
You're ingrained
Um,
in that to
Yeah,
roll
it's
back.
very to be honest, it's actually kind of hard to wrap my head around sometimes that's what needs to happen, because I'm so used to playing all these Souls games where I'm like I get hit,
play
I
turtle,
run, I heal.
defensive. Yeah.
Totally. So here's like that too. It's ultra it's you fight, but it's like the complete opposite of not opposite of Bloodborne, but Sekiro, you're focused so much on trying to play that dance. You're not really you're going on the offense, but you know that your offense is just going to get blocked. And you just have to
Gotta counter. You gotta wait it out.
You gotta
Yeah.
wait it out. You gotta counter. You gotta play that game. It's like a marathon. Bloodborne, to me, it's hard because you're literally you're dying inside, and you have to get that health back, and you have to move real quick, and the enemies are lightning fast versus any other Dark Souls game. It's hard.
It was
And
30 FPS.
especially Ludwig. I couldn't beat
Yeah,
Ludwig either. So, to your point,
Nice.
Elaine.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. It's unlike any other
So-
feeling, and yeah, I think Bloodborne and Sekiro will be, I think, good for you to discover, JV, because like Mari said, it offers something that Elden Ring doesn't have. Completely unique art style. I guess it depends on what you prefer. Like, do you like? I think you probably like Sekiro more in terms of like the setting and
Japanese,
feudal era Japan. But like Bloodborne's a pretty unique perspective as well, because it's Victorian, like Bram Stoker-esque Dracula shit. Like if you're into gothic horror and Lovecraftian horror,
Yeah, Lovecraftian. That's what
Yeah.
I always hear about that, Lovecraftian.
yeah, it's really interesting, man. Like the fear of the unknown, man. Like it's such a cool concept, dude. And yeah, I can't rave enough about it. I could talk to you
Play with
all
headphones
about
for
Bloodborne
sure.
for hours. Yeah, but yeah, you can't go wrong either way if you choose either game. So, yeah.
Yeah. It'll be an adjustment though, since you're already spoiled with 60 FPS.
Yeah.
Bloodborne's only
Ah.
running 30, even
Dude.
less. And like Elaine, right? You try to jump back in, and it was kind of rough.
It
You're
was
like,
rough, yeah, because I finished Elden Ring and I wanted to get the plat for Bloodborne too. And I went back and I was like, fuck, the 30 frames is so evident. Like I couldn't get over it, man. It just felt shit.
You get so
It felt
spoiled
I-
like with the games nowadays.
You get
We're
spoiled,
so
yeah.
spoiled. We are so spoiled. But I couldn't believe how I was able to sink so much time into it. I was like, God, this is so uncomfortable, so jarring. But I mean, it shouldn't. It really shouldn't. I'm just whining. Like it shouldn't take away from the experience. It's
Yeah.
so good. Yeah.
like JV, we played remake, FF7 remake
Yeah.
on 30 FPS.
Yeah, it's true.
When I went 60 and I tried to just go back a bit just to see what it was like. My God, it's rough, man.
Yeah.
It is rough. I'm like, I can't believe I played this at 30 FPS and loved it.
Right?
But
Yeah.
You
going,
realize-
being spoiled, at 60 or even more. Because
Yeah.
I played it also on PC. I'm playing it at like 120.
Oh, nice.
Like,
Oh,
going
damn.
back to 30.
That's times,
It's crazy
times 4.
weird, dude. It's crazy weird. Yeah.
It's like
Uh,
I tried playing Control. Have you ever heard of Control, the game? So I had to play.
dude,
that
I did.
first.
I did. I played
Really
it during the
good. Oh, I've
pandemic.
heard
One
of
of the
it.
games that
Yeah, it's really good.
it's scary, man.
Yeah.
Like it'll really play with your mind if you play it with headphones.
Very visually
And you
good.
play it alone. And
It's also free on
yeah.
PS Plus, so if you might be in, I think it might be
Yeah.
free next month for all. I think so.
I heard it's gonna be free too. Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh no. Yeah, we lost internet. Are you guys still there?
I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, so it blacked out quite a bit
Oh.
from here. Like that's why JV's gone.
Oh
So
my
Oh
we
God,
just
shit! Oh
lost
no!
JV,
power.
Oh, we lost JV.
Yeah, yeah, we
JV,
lost
Rest,
JV. That's
no.
why
rest in peace,
he's
JV.
quite frozen because it did black out. But I have so it's good to have an AVR, guys. So I have an AVR. Yeah, it didn't reset the internet. Surprisingly, I'm still here, right?
Yeah, you're still
I
there.
hope it's still streaming though. I don't know. Hopefully, it's still streaming. Anyway, so we lost JV. He'll come back. He'll jump back. Um. Uh. Well, I'll bring it up. Well, we're actually in the last question. So, do you guys think it'll be Game of the Year? Elden Ring?
100%.
Yeah, like it's really like because like if you'd ask me, I'd say yes. But the thing is,
Mhm.
I generally don't play a lot of very mainstream games just in my collection. So I think like out of all the games I've played this year, I think so. Um, but but I believe it too because just like Dark Souls in general has just it's always been kind of a niche game until
Yeah.
in my opinion like Bloodborne, Sekiro. Like once those two started coming out and Sekiro won Game of the Year, I was like kind of almost in
I
shock, to
know,
be
right?
honest.
It actually won Game of the
Yeah.
Year. Surprising.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked that Sekiro won Game of the Year because I'm like
Same.
no one really like plays these types of games. Like I mean,
Yeah.
besides like a
A
couple
niche. Yeah,
and
there's a
niche people,
certain
yeah.
niche. Yeah.
But Elden Ring is different. I feel like Elden Ring, and I think it's because
Oh
like
yeah.
when it comes to the PS5, there haven't
Mhm.
really been a ton of like. And I don't know, I might be super biased here because I haven't owned a PS5 for so long, but there haven't really been a lot of hype games where you're just like, you know, like everybody's like raving about it or whatever. Like I mean, the comparison I have here is like Breath of the Wild for Switch. Like Breath of the
Oh
Wild
yeah.
is just like over the top, like top of the top, like for Switch. When you say Switch, you associate with Breath of the Wild. But Elden
Yeah.
Ring, like I feel like it's so different because now like I can confidently say Elden Ring is mainstream as far as the
Oh
game goes.
yeah. 100%.
You know,
Yeah.
like for a Souls game, that's kind of like hard to say. Like even Sekiro, even if it won Game of the Year, I can't say it's mainstream. But Elden Ring, I can. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think
Absolutely agree, man. Absolutely agree. I think it's
Um,
gonna win Game of the Year. I'm just trying to think what else came out this year. What releases were this year?
well, coming out is God of War. That's what I think will be the only competitor for Elden
Which one,
Ring.
Miggy? Which one?
God of War 2. God of War.
Oh yeah, true, true, true.
Ragnarok.
Could be. Could be. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Do you know what happened in 2018? Like how so it was Red Dead Redemption 2 and God of War. Everyone thought Red Dead was gonna win, but God of War eventually stole the show.
Yeah.
But I still, in my heart, I believe Elden Ring will
yeah, but when
win.
is God of War coming out though? Like this year?
November,
November.
Oh,
November
November.
9. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it'll reach the deadline. So the deadline's usually mid-November, and I believe God of War will still compete for this year.
Yeah. How does that work though? Because like, in November, like what you have like only a couple months to really gain the interest and hype of like all these gamers, you know what I mean? Whereas Elden Ring, I feel like has like to this day it's relevant, till like so I don't know. Like was it the same
Um,
situation before when Red Dead Redemption lost against God of War? God of War came later, or how did that
Sorry,
work
what
out?
was the question? How you mean how it's voted?
Yeah, or like how did it work last time God of War won against Red Dead Redemption? Did God of War come
Um,
later in the year too, and then they just kind of stole the game from Red Dead?
I can't remember when Red Dead was out, but God of War was out early 2018.
Early
Early,
2018.
so I believe it was the same. I don't think Red Dead was out too late. Maybe like June or July. I could be
Mm,
wrong.
I see.
But in terms of voting, it's usually the let's say the IGNs, the Easy Allies, the publishers, the ones who actually review or have an early review of the game. I think they have the votes.
Yeah.
And also comes like maybe 10% or a small percentage from the fans. So it's quite even, because if you make it a fan vote, it's just, I think Elden Ring will just win. Actually, I don't know about God of War. They have a lot of fans also, but I don't think a fan vote is right. You know, it
Hmm.
has to be equal. The thing I like about Elden Ring is really how it got a lot of new players to just download it and play it and give it a
Yeah,
shot.
yeah,
Like we know the God of War will be like this. It'll be similar to 2018 gameplay wise. It'll have a
true.
few mechanics to it. It'll have a great story. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
Graphics of obviously it'll be like 10 out of 10 for sure.
yeah.
But I think they have to look at the impact of Elden Ring to
You
the
got it. Yeah.
community and to the popularity. Like considering it's a Souls game, no one likes a Souls game unless they're challenged. They want to be challenged.
Hmm.
The fact that like people like JV or even Jed was able to finish Elden Ring in the
Yeah,
span of, I don't know, uh, how many hours, but I think it should win. It deserves to win.
yeah, man. Dude, outstanding all across the board in every regard. Um,
Yeah. No,
I don't
I
know
100.
what competition is like Sifu. I mean, I love Sifu, man. Like,
Oh no,
oh,
no, no.
fuck.
Sifu, I love it, but it's not.
Yeah, I don't think
Indie.
so.
I think it'll win either indie, best indie of the year, or its competitor right now is Stray. Stray is actually doing a good job
Really.
because
Yeah,
it's
that's
getting
that's trending now. Yeah.
yeah, it's getting
Yeah.
people to play as a cat. It's an easy game. It's not as hard as Sifu. Sifu is really hard, dude. I think I was telling you, Elaine, how I had a harder time with Sifu compared to Elden Ring.
Yeah,
I don't
dude,
know if
that
I
What?
told you
shit's
that.
no joke, man. It's
Yeah,
real
because
hard.
Sifu is, you only do one thing, is the whole combo parrying and all
It's
that
like a
stuff.
fighting game, dude. Yeah.
Unlike Elden Ring, there's so many ways to go about it. You can have a
Hmm.
mimic, you can have a certain build, you can grind first, get out of the way,
Yeah.
grind your ass off and level up, be OP,
Hmm.
and come back to it and this and that. But with Sifu, there's only just one path. It's very linear, and it's either you keep repeating levels to get a lower age so you can
Yeah, yeah.
not
It's a
repeat.
different type
But
of replay value. It's like the beauty of
yeah, different
repetition and
type
perfecting your craft. Yeah.
stuff. And I don't think I was even able to master every move. Like it's a lot of move sets. It's really like a fighting game. Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
And yeah, parrying and using any weapon like you see out there, like
Oh yeah.
a knife, a chef's knife,
Yeah.
or a
So
stick,
sick,
a
dude.
bamboo stick. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's
As a fan of like classic Hong Kong cinema, like, dude, it's so cool. It's like classic like Jack Chan or like a Bruce Lee movie or something. But yeah, fuck. I'm not gonna play it. I haven't played it. But just seeing perfect runs of it is so satisfying. Like that's
perfect runs,
sick,
man.
sick ass
It's hard.
choreo,
It's
man.
hard.
Like they actually got some martial artists, who's like this French dude that specialized in this particular Shaolin style kung fu called Pak Mei or something. Like it's completely unviable in real life. Like I don't think you could use it in an
Mhm.
actual street fight, but like it just looks so sick. Like it looks so cool. Um,
Yeah,
in Sifu. But
they
yeah.
they should make a Matrix game, man. Those developers,
Hmm.
they've earned the right or the spot to make a good,
Yeah.
high IP or famous IP game.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope. So yeah, just to let you know, my top five right now. Well, upcoming also. Like, I have number one obviously is Elden Ring. Then I think God of War will take my second spot.
Yeah.
But other than that, I have Forbidden West was pretty good. I liked it. It's
Forbidden West.
just
Yeah.
yeah, but if we're talking about both Horizons, comparing both Horizons, I like the story in Horizon 1 better because
Really?
origin, and then she figures out who she really is. So in the second one, it's just like more discovery, but it's not, it
There are a
wasn't
lot
as
less surprises.
satisfying as the first one. Yeah, yeah. I
Sure.
mean, I also didn't like where it's going, so I don't know. I'm giving it, a plus per end. Like interesting way of ending the second sequel.
Yeah.
So apparently it's gonna be a trilogy. That's what they're saying. So let's see. Then Callisto Protocol is what I think will reach my top 5. I think that game, showing enough gameplay, it looks really good.
Yeah.
You know. Uh, then Sifu might be my fifth.
Okay.
Might be my fifth. Yeah, it is that good. There's a Gotham game, Gotham Knights. I think that's gonna be good too. But let's see. Let's see. Wait it out this year.
Nice.
So we'll end the stream right now. But before we go, let's Elaine, what are you gonna play next?
Oh shoot, yeah,
Uh,
man, dude, my backlog's
yeah.
so big. But I've taken a bit of a break from from gaming ever since I finished Elden Ring. But definitely Ghost of Tsushima is on my radar.
Mhm.
Um, I know there's like an armor set that is like an homage to Bloodborne in that game that I can't wait to get.
Oh, I got it. Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's like a crow feather sort of outfit. But yeah, definitely Ghost of Tsushima. I'm pretty. The next thing I'm really, really, really hyped for is the fucking RE4 remake. I'm so excited for that.
Oh, next year.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
March.
yeah. But yeah, so Ghost of Tsushima probably would be my next one. I got a birthday gift from a friend for the Switch. It's the JRPG. It's pretty obscure, but it's called Trails of Cold Steel. It's kind of
Ooh.
like it's kind of like Persona, but I think it's Persona and like a more traditional RPG like combined. It's a high school. You hang out with your friends and stuff, but it's turn based. I played the first two on my Vita like fucking 6 years ago, and they
Mhm.
ported it to the Switch, and my friend gave me the third and the fourth installment for the Switch. I might play that. I haven't played a turn-based game in forever. I love JRPGs.
Same,
Um,
same, dude.
yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. So yeah, I might pick that up. So yeah, it's a bit of a toss-up between Ghost of Tsushima or Trails of Cold Steel.
Nice. What about you, Mary? What are you gonna stream next?
Dude, I don't even know, man. If you even go to my Twitch stream, like these days, I stream like anything, and it's like the worst Twitch strategy ever. Like you'd never want to do that. You never want to like change games, but I'm like, I can't just like play one game for something. Like I played Dark Souls and Metroid Dread, by the way, which Metroid Dread I still have to finish
Ooh,
that.
yeah,
I'm
new
not done
Dread is
with it
awesome.
yet. Originally, then I just started going ham. Like I've been playing like Slay the Spire on the stream. I've been playing um like I was playing Little Nightmares one time. Like just it's
I
kind
like
of all
Little
over the
Nightmares,
place.
man.
It is good. I like
Mhm.
it, but I just can't. But I want to try to find something that I can really stick to though.
Okay.
Like okay, I'm super guilty though. If you look at my freaking Switch, like it's just like all these unplayed games, one after the other. So I'm just trying to finish one game, dude. Like just one.
Yeah.
Like I do want
Yeah.
to play to your point though, Lane. I'm waiting for Persona because I've never played Persona 5 or any of the Persona games to be honest.
Ooh, bro.
No, never. But also I'm also in the middle of Shin Megami Tensei
SMT
5.
SMT4? Oh, nice, nice,
The
nice.
newest one, or was it 5 or 4? I'm just doing
I
the
think it's
newest,
4.
the 4.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm doing 4 right now, and even that game, I'm like, I can't pick it up for some reason. I'm just like, oh, what
Oh
is going
man.
on? But anyway, there's
Yeah,
just
they're
so many games. Yeah.
yeah, we're spoiled for
Xenoblade.
choice.
Are you guys since you guys are Switch users? Xenoblade just came out, the third one, I think.
Yes, but I have not played any of the
The single one.
Xenoblade
Same.
games.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's so hyped up. I don't understand, but yeah, I heard it's really good.
Yeah, yeah. I watched my friend play Chronicles and the sort of open world ones. It's really good. Um but yeah, man, sorry, Mari. Yeah, they're porting Atlas is finally porting all the Persona games to the Switch, so you could play 3, 4,
Oh, I saw that. Yeah,
and
I know.
5, yeah, on the Switch. So yeah, man, it's great. Like I played
that's a
3 and
lot of
4 in the
backlog.
Vita, and it was the reason why I got the Vita. And to this day, I think Persona 3 and 4 are like one of my favorite games of all time. Like it's just nothing
Mm.
like it. It's a life sim. It's a life sim as well as an RPG. You know, it's very introspective. They talk about relationships and like how that shapes who you are. It gets really deep. But it's also fun. Like, dude, P5 UI, in my opinion, is still like the coolest, most beautiful looking UI ever. Like, it looks
Mhm.
so good. Such a strong art style. And the music, man, Persona music is famous. Like, it's so good.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, we'll
Cool.
see. We'll see, man. You'll just see me on on the next stream, maybe, and it'll just be a different game. Just watch.
Dude, we gotta find a game to play together, man. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, no, we'll figure it
And
out.
I'm not sure. Do you have multiverses in your Switch? It's a new game right
Who has
now.
heard about
Yeah.
multiverses? Yeah.
It's free apparently, so we can all play it
I mean,
together.
I'm down. I've played Smash. It's kind of like Smash, right? It's like basically the
Yeah,
same
it's
thing.
kind
Yeah.
of
Okay.
Smash.
It's like a Smash. It's a Smash clone.
Yeah,
Okay.
except you can play Shaggy.
But I don't
That's
know if
all I
it's on Switch
remember.
because it's a competitor. But let's see. Hopefully it is, so we can play. But if you have your PS5 in your place, obviously you can just get it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll figure something out. Oh, dude, to be honest, I haven't been playing. I feel a little guilty now because I think I'm a PlayStation Plus member and I don't even play PS5.
Same,
My
dude.
Switch.
Same here,
Uh,
man. Same here.
yeah, just remember to download the games every month, so you have extra games for your library, and it'll be there forever.
Yeah, no, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll end the stream here. Just follow us on all sorts of social media. I'll be streaming soon, maybe God of War, just for a recap stream, just for the story mode. And then you can also follow us on TikTok for more news about movies, gaming, and we'll be launching a new show about lifestyle soon. We'll be trying some gin master classes soon, and I'll be documenting it in the channel. So I'll
Sick.
see you guys in the next video.
All right, see ya.
Peace.
Shout out.
Thank you for watching. You can follow us on all sorts of social media from Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search Premier Avenue. And on Instagram, search at Premier Avenue underscore PH. You may watch these suggested videos on top, and I'll catch you on the next stream.